Eliminated before that final race. We look at the big three this season. They have been dominant. 19 wins between these three drivers, and they have so many playoff points accumulated. Makes it a little bit easier if they can do well today. Kelly.
Well, a year ago, a lap one crash ended Christopher Bell's day and put a big dent in his championship standings, a memory that is still fresh in his mind. He told me the priority for today is to simply finish the race. He said, I can't promise you that we're going to win today, but I can promise you we'll see the checkered flag. We'll see if that mindset holds true now that he put the number 20 Toyota on the pole position, Marty.
Kelly, you talk about the big three in the Xfinity Series. The best at the mile and a half this year has been Cole Custer. But this weekend here at Kansas, they've struggled. It's a new tire for the Xfinity Series this weekend. Cole told me, I just have not gotten a feel for it. I can't run the wall like I normally like to. We'll see how the 00 shapes out today, Dave.
Marty, Tyler Reddick has raced 5 times in NASCAR at the Kansas Speedway, yet this week, and never won, yet this week he put it in the top 5 of all racetracks. Why? Because of the speed here and all the places you can go. And we know Tyler will go anywhere to find speed. Now we're going to go to get these engines started to start the round of 8 in the Jayhawk State.
And now, for the most famous awards in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, Executive Director for Kansas Lottery, Stephen Durrell.
Drivers, start your engines!
I fired up. I think it's fired up. All right, Craig, when you're ready. I fired up.
Drivers are strapped in, the engines are fired. And now it all comes down to this. The round of 8. 8 drivers racing amongst 39 that will be on the track. So it's not just the playoff drivers out there they're fighting against, it's everyone.
I want to win at Homestead, so I would consider not winning the championship a playoff failure.
We've focused hard on Homestead for going on a year now. That was our #1 goal.
I definitely can be one of the Final Four at Miami. The biggest thing is just having the belief and confidence in yourself to know you can.
That's what we strive to do. Every single person on our team wants to win.
All eyes right now are on the official pace car. It's the 2020 Toyota GR Supra, which leads the field as the official pace car for today's Kansas Lottery 300. Drivers won't be looking too far forward. They're talking about Miami and Homestead, but right now they've got to think about Kansas. Here's the starting grid. Christopher Bell with his pole win earlier today. We'll start up front. Brandon Jones next to him, Austin Cindric and Tyler Reddick making up row 2. Then back in row 3, Cole Custer and Jeremy Clements. We've got an opportunity. We can call up Cole Custer on the radio. Let's do that now.
Hey Cole, it's the Booth Boys. You with us?
Yeah, I got you.
Cole, you and your team this year have 7 wins. What is it going to take today to make it 8?
That's a tough question. I mean, I think we'll see how much the track changes today. It has, a lot less rubber on it. It's a lot cooler than yesterday, but I thought our car was pretty good yesterday, so hopefully it translates. But I think we should have something to compete for a win.
So Cole, how you, as a driver, when the track starts changing, how do you decide to change lanes?
I mean, a lot of it comes from watching videos and stuff like that, but also, when you start to be able to not carry the throttle you want to on a lower line, you're probably going to move up so you can carry a little bit more throttle.
All right, Cole, good luck today. Thanks for letting us ride along.
Thank you, guys.
And we hope we get a ride along for quite some time, as we had seen earlier, the fact that they didn't get through turns 1 and 2 last year in this race. Hoping that they will have a little better run. We're going to ride along with a few different drivers today. Junior, Steve, take us through them.
Well, we just heard from Cole Custer. He has the Ford Performance onboard camera starting in the 3rd row, 5th position. Then we have Ross Chastain, the Nutrient Ag Solutions, row 5, starting 9th. And he also, you see it right there on the top of his helmet, will carry the helmet camera.
We got Tyler Reddick with the Sonic camera starting 4th today. He has a reverse driver that you see there and also a side panner on the right side over the corner of the screen. Then our pole sitter, Christopher Bell, with the Toyota can. And over the shoulder 360, which is pretty cool. You see it there in the camera shot just to the left of the headrest. You're seeing some great shots with that all day long outside this 20 car.
And with a few more of the storylines before the green flag flies, let's go back to pit road. Kelly.
Of the 8 playoff drivers, Noah Gragson has the most ground to make up. He's 12 points below the playoff cut line. The 21-year-old out of Las Vegas, Nevada, told me he'll be paying close attention to his nearest playoff rivals out on track, and he feels like if he can simply make up a couple of points every stage of all 3 races in this round of the playoffs, he'll be among the 4 fighting for the championship in Miami. Dave?
Justin Allgaier is 3 points below the cut line right now, but as his teammate Noah Gragson pointed out to me a little while ago, this is just the first of 3 races, so they've got a lot of time to get the 7 car consistently into the final round. But he's got a lot of competition against him, and remember, he hasn't won yet this year after winning 5 times last year, so they've got to bring it around starting today, Marty.
Hey, Dave, if you want to win a championship in any NASCAR touring series, you need to be good at Homestead Miami Speedway. What's like Homestead Miami? Well, Kansas is one of those racetracks where you have to run the wall, and that's the goal for Austin Cindric. Austin admitted to me earlier today, hey, I haven't been really the best at running the wall my entire career, but I've gotten better at it, and this is our last best chance to test and practice that before we get to Miami, where they hope they'll have a shot to win the championship. Maybe they'll learn something today, Rick, that'll help them out.
Yeah, Marty, we will see some guys running right up against the wall or fence right here at this racetrack. Jeff, if you could take us through the race breakdown, tell us the numbers and the particulars of this one.
That's a really cool racetrack, Rick. Kansas Xfinity Series race. It's always fun to watch. 1.5 mile oval, 200 laps, 300 miles around this racetrack. Stage 1 will be 45 laps. Stage 2 also 45 laps. Final stage 110 laps. Fuel window 56 to 60 laps. This is race 1, 3 rounds. Round of 8, Kansas, Texas, and Phoenix. 3 really good racetracks.
And if you're in the top 4 in the points or have won in any of those 3 races and part of the playoffs, you will be racing in the championship 4 that will be at Homestead Miami Speedway. Cars working their way around the track, and about in the same spot that last year, Junior Steve, we saw what we couldn't even have ever expected. The top cars wrecking coming through turns 1 and 2.
Well, I think there's some uncertainty today. We just heard Cole Custer talk about how the track has changed with the overnight rain. Well, a year ago, all of the championship favorites were up front. They go down into turns 1 and 2. Allgaier and Bell get together, spinning around and collecting so many other championship cars.
Yeah, Justin gets loose, gets into the 20 car, takes out all these cars. This track is very slick, very difficult to drive, and even worse this year, As far as the grip level, because of a new tire that they brought to this racetrack, it promotes wear. It's supposed to rubber in the racetrack, but it's a little bit slower, a little bit less grip. To really challenge these Xfinity drivers who didn't get a chance to run on that tire earlier this year in April.
So as a crew chief, I'm coaching my driver to take it easy. But Dale, how do you really do that, right? I mean, that's the question I have. When I listened to all the interviews after that accident, they were all like, well, I don't know what I could do different, right? Well, they need to figure something out.
I just show them that replay over and over and over. Man, see what's happening here. Don't do this again.
Yeah, talk about that first lap incident. Well, these cars, I think it's important for fans to remember that these Xfinity cars don't make the downforce. Look at that little bitty spoiler on the back of these cars compared to the Cup cars that have those great big spoilers, make tons of downforce. These of the top 3 Touring Series in NASCAR are the cars that make the least amount of grip. So they're very hard to drive, and then when you get them around other cars, they become very difficult to drive, and it's just a very hard race for these drivers to manage, and that's why part of the reason we're going to see these drivers moving all over the racetrack trying to find grip.
One of the great things about NASCAR and the Xfinity Series, we can listen into the radios of these teams, and let's listen in now to the 2 team of Tyler Reddick, see if there's a little pep talk going on.
200 good ones today. Be smart. Let's get some points in this first stage and second stage, and let's get a win and get out of here, buddy. We got a fast car, got the best driver out there. We can make it happen.
There you have it. Fast car and great driver. There's a lot of great drivers out there, and there's a lot of fast cars. One of those being the 20 of Christopher Bell, who was fastest in qualifying earlier today.
There's 2 types of Tyler Reddicks, I think. There's one that can go out there and run the fence all day long and dominate a race like this, or there's a guy that can slip up, get in the fence a little bit, trying a little bit too hard.
You know, we talk about that and we think about the aggressiveness of the 2 car, but he has the best average finish of every car this season. So that aggression has not hurt him. So why would he be less aggressive? Rick, every time he pushes it and pushes it hard, it seems to work out in the end. I would expect nothing different today.
We'll see how aggressive he is on the start of this race. Again, 200 laps in front of him, 300 miles. That first stage ending 45 laps in. As Christopher Bell and Brandon Jones make up row 1. The round of 8 is underway from Kansas Speedway.
Well, that outside line had a little bit of trouble. Got everybody stacked up there behind them, trying to put themselves in position to take advantage of that issue on that restart.
The 4th row, 3 wide. They didn't see that video from last year. The no concern, 3 wide off the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, everybody. Braxton went through the middle there. Tyler Reddick up high already, running that line in the 3rd groove, trying to keep his momentum up. He's got clean air on the nose of that car. He's going to have that momentum coming down this front straightaway to go by the 10 car. He's going to get on the outside of Jones as well. Side draft a little bit, keep that momentum going. He's going to take all those positions going into turn 1.
Tyler Reddick yesterday in practice, when he put new tires on, he went straight to the top of the racetrack, never ran on the bottom of the racetrack, which is normally the fastest way around. That showed me right then what his intention was today, get to the top.
If it's working already, it's only going to be better as tires wear. You see he gives a little time up on corner entry, but look how hard he is back to the throttle, running the 7 down. He'll have a big run on the 7 right here. You see it. Allgaier pulls down, says you're running the top. I'm going to give you the top. It's going to be interesting to see how long the leaders will allow him to be up there by himself.
There you see it, the 22 is Cindric moving up the racetrack a little bit. Not quite as high, but that definitely takes a little bit of that aero advantage off the 2. 2 car down to the bottom underneath Cole Custer here. Going to try this bottom groove. We'll see how good this 2 is low on the racetrack.
He just took the 3rd spot away from Cole Custer. A little bobble there out of the 0-0 of Cole Custer. Behind him running 4th, but it's Bell, Cindric, Reddick, Custer, Allgaier, top 5.
The 2 of Reddick is so good on the top of the racetrack. Oh,
the 8 car.
The 8. But, oh, I see the fire and the smoke. That looks to be a major mechanical failure for Truex.
So Ryan Truex, younger brother of Martin Truex Jr., behind the wheel of the 8.
A fire truck, if you need it, just past turn 2 here.
There, his spotter's letting him know where the fire truck is.
Never good information. Never something the driver needs to want to know.
And so an early caution once again coming out here at Kansas. Looks like he's rolling now. And we'll roll back, or at least try to roll back all the way to pit road.
huge disappointment for Ryan Truex. Runs a limited schedule for Junior Motorsports. You can see all that fire. Have to wonder if the other Junior Motorsports cars are a little concerned now.
You beat me to it, Jeff. If I'm a crew chief for one of the other 3 Junior Motorsports cars, I'm starting to have some concern. All 3 are in the conversation of this points battle.
This was just his 6th start of 2019 in that 8 car for Junior Motorsports, and up in smoke he goes.
You know the best part of this grassroots tour is that not only did I learn about new racetracks, but I've learned that every racetrack has a hometown hero and a big event.
My track, my roots, we want you to do it at every local short track around the country.
Everybody starts out local short track racing. You know at night, they're working on their race cars, they're committed to racing, and those guys, they put so much effort and energy in there.
No matter where you go, there's somebody working on a race car to go run a local short track.
Grassroots racing tour, such a success this year. Hashtag My Track, My Roots, telling the stories from one state to the other. All 50 states participated in My Track, My Roots this year.
So many great racers and so many great racetracks around the country. It's fun to be able to celebrate them and show off what they got going on, because all their hometowns should be proud of them.
We've been able to talk about some of the home tracks that we're all connected to. We're learning so much more about other home tracks all across the country. I love the fact that the sport, the network, and NBC has made an effort to reconnect with that short track identity and community. It's just amazing. We used to have such a great connection to them in the history of the sport, and lost that a little bit over the last decade. Coming back, it's awesome.
Yeah, professional sports, the celebration at the top level of something we all fell in love with as a kid. Whether it's your local baseball field or, in our case, our local racetracks. And I think you see those fans right there. Fans, drivers, crew members, they are all created and built at local short tracks. And as you said, Dale, I've been fortunate enough to find out about some tracks I wasn't aware of. And because of that, I've caught some even more great racing this year.
It has been a lot of fun learning about the different racetracks across the country and the people that race at them. Let's find out what happened with the 8 of Ryan Truex. Marty.
He's back in the garage and unfortunately out of the car. You said it lost power steering first. What happened? Do you have any idea?
No idea. I lost power steering for half a lap, then it blew up. So I don't know if it knocked a belt off or what happened. It sucks. That was my last race in this car, and I feel like that's the best car we've had since Phoenix at the start of the year. Yeah, we had a top 5 car for sure. So that really sucks. Don't even get a chance to show what we got. But thanks to Marquis Spas for being on the car again. Yeah, hopefully I'll see you next year.
As a part-time driver, is that the worst part of this, that you only get to show what you can do a couple of times a year, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to explain how hard it is to come out here. You know, I don't race anything else. So this is my 6th race of the year, period. So to not even have a chance, you know, when I felt like we had a really strong Camaro is tough to swallow for sure.
There you go. That's the bad side of it. You're a part-time driver. You don't get many shots, and this one will end early for Ryan Truex.
Said he lost power steering. It tells me maybe a piece of debris, mechanical failure. Something probably kicked the belts off, knocking the oil pump belt off. Half a lap, no oil pressure. It's not going to take long. I'm sure that probably caused the engine failure. We'll have to know more when they get back to the shop as the crews continue to clean up.
I have I'm disappointed for him. He really wanted to make the most of this opportunity. Hey, do you want to watch the race from there? That's not a bad seat. I kind of like where I'm at in the booth, though.
Yeah.
Aside from being out there in the campers, it's a good one.
A great family atmosphere at virtually every racetrack, and kids 12 and under are free for every Xfinity and Gander Outdoor Truck Series race on the schedule. And then you can get discounted tickets also available for the Monster Energy Cup Series events. Go to NASCAR.com/kids tickets to learn more about those free and discounted tickets. Dave.
Rick, just a few cars down on pit road this time. One of them was Michael Annett, who did not even take a qualifying lap. His car was so out of control in the first half of his qualifying lap, he just decided to pull it in. So he started 38, came down just under this caution to have an adjustment to the race car. It was a little bit loose, didn't put fuel in it, just kind of saved the balance between the front and the rear there for another time. They'll have to pit anyway during stage 1. And then the 7 car of Justin Allgaier, he actually feels pretty good about his car, but he's looking at a competitor. Listen.
And the car handles really good, Jason. I just don't know how the 2's that fast on a short lap.
How is Tyler Reddick doing that? Justin Allgaier said he also practiced yesterday following the 2 a little bit, tried to replicate that a little, but couldn't quite get there, at least not on the short run.
Well, why does Justin think that Tyler Reddick is so fast? Well, we only had a few green flag laps, and Tyler Reddick was making stuff happen, jumping on the outside. Brandon Jones carried a tremendous amount of momentum. And here he goes around Justin. Also on the outside. Hangs the left on Cole Custer. Tries past Cole Custer, but watch, doesn't stay on the bottom, just uses up all the racetrack. And Tyler Reddick was a talk in the garage before this race, how fast he was, and so far, that has played into this race.
His car is very fast, and he's used that top before nobody else did to his advantage. Got to go up there and take risks.
So again, points very important as these drivers, they were reset at the beginning of this round. The 8 drivers fighting for a spot in the championship 4 at season's end. And now we see up front Christopher Bell once again on the inside line. Austin Cindric will be on the outside as they come back up to speed.
Good push from the 7 into the back of the 2. Let's see what the 2 can do anything with it.
Wow, look at that. No, Gregson through the middle. What a restart for him. Got on the outside of his teammate. That cost a lot of grip in that 7 car when he got on the door of that 7 car. But boy, he took advantage of that. Rifling up through there.
Gregson in that yellow and blue.
Yeah, into 5th place.
Well, and that's the first weakness we have seen out of the 2 is he is not good on the bottom of the racetrack. He lost multiple spots, fought his way back to the top. If I'm the 9, I might try to run the top and take it away from the 2 just like that, force him up the racetrack higher. Unfortunately, Reddick will comfortably go up the racetrack higher.
Yeah, if you're going to go up the racetrack to take his line, you're going to have to be on the fence. It's going to have to be higher than that.
Here comes Ross Chastain in the 10 as he works in between that 00 of Custer and the 22 of Cindric. Almost up into him.
Absolutely, almost contact there, but.
And the hand came out the window too of Cindric. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, Ross is one of those drivers that is very aggressive. He's gonna have, this is gonna be a tough race for him. All these guys he's racing with, they're in this playoff battle. He does not want to prevent them from winning a championship, but at the same time, he wants to win this race.
Knowing him, though, I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares about the playoffs or the points. He just got a new job. He's excited. He wants to go out and prove to this team they made the right choice. That was a close call for both those guys right there. Both of them very, very lucky to come away without any damage.
And he got that new job driving this way, Jeff, right? I mean, this aggression obviously has paid off for him. I'm not a fan of it. I actually think it's going to be a negative when he runs in one series for an entire year. It'll be yet to be seen. We'll have to see next year.
Well, Ross Chastain, that's what he does. He drives aggressively, and to your point, it's gotten him this far, and he'll have to figure out how to work that out, right? He's racing a lot on weekends, and when he sits in a car that can win, because not all the cars he drives is capable of winning, when he sits in a car, he cherishes it, and he's going to push the buttons and try to make things happen, and there's a limit to that, and he'll find it.
Yeah. Ross has been very busy this year. He's been running cup races. He's been running in the Xfinity Series, but he's running for a championship in the Gander Outdoor Truck Series. So that's the series right now that he's gaining points. Right now he is 2 points out of the championship 4, so he's going to have to fight his way back into that top 4. Into the wall again.
That was a 22 car getting in the fence. So the 98 of Chase Briscoe come up the racetrack in 3 and 4 in front of the 22. I think the 22 lost the race car when that happened. Created some issues for him, and he got into the fence.
See the 2 of Reddick. He just drove in the corner, didn't even try to really run a line, doing it way up the racetrack.
Let's see here if it was the 22 car. Yep. Just trying to stay on the outside. Not as bad as it looked.
I saw that decal blow off the wall. I thought it looked worse.
Yeah, not as bad at all as it looked.
Are the composite bodies helping with that?
Yeah, these cars can take abuse that their cup counterparts cannot and still They don't lose the side force. They don't lose the body character. If anything, they seem to get faster when they hit the wall.
Well, really close call there for the two. Tyler Reddick, look at this.
Watch him up there, watch him up there. Never lifted. He said, I got a little momentum. I'm not going to give it up.
There's Chase Briscoe in the 98 up against the wall. Justin Allgaier in the 7. Falling behind.
Rick, we talked about the new tire for the Xfinity Series, and one of those teams that kind of was thrown for a loop on that was Austin Cindric's team. They were so loose early in practice this weekend, and right there, loose as well for Austin. But a spotter, Josh Williams, encouraged him, saying, hey, you know what? You're fine. That was just a little brush for the wall. You might have another one today. Just keep moving.
And we're going to discuss the tire. Goodyear does the best job of being a tire they feel will help racing. It's not their job to fix the balance of a race car. And as a crew chief, you get a lot of information, but a lot of it is kind of educated guesses. Until the car goes on the racetrack, you're not exactly sure how it's going to affect your car, and each setup it can affect differently. And let me tell you what, guys, we talk about technology, that's all fair, and horsepower and downforce, but only one thing touches the asphalt, and that is that Goodyear tire. And if you haven't figured out that grip level with your balance, it can be a long day.
Yeah, that's right. I think the tire is the most important part of the sport. It connects the race car to the racetrack, and if you ask the drivers what they like about a tire, they're going to tell you they like fall off. They want a tire that rubbers up the racetrack. And when Goodyear brought this new tire to Kansas, that was their intent, for this tire to put more rubber down on the racetrack. It does have a lot less grip. The drivers aren't going to complain about that. Anytime you take grip away, they're all going to think it's going to help them because they feel like they're the best driver in the field, and the more challenging you make it, the better to them.
Steve, did a driver just say they're not going to complain? Did I hear him say that right?
That was a retired driver.
Okay.
Just to be clear. That's what happens when you move into retirement. You know who else wins with a tire with less grip in my mind? Is the race fan at a track like this where you can slide around. That's why these guys are climbing up the top of these corners and running close to the wall. That, though, is a concern for the two of Reddick. We saw him early, before that really early yellow, how much movement he was making through the field. Well, now look at Justin Allgaier. Everyone is up there. So no matter how good you are, it's kind of like fighting traffic leaving the race here later today. If someone's in the lane in front of you, you can't go anywhere. That's the problem Reddick's going to have. Kelly.
Yeah, how about Noah Gragson started 10th, already up to the 3rd position. He was another driver that made contact with the wall in practice yesterday. He said he was just too loose and entered turn 3 a little bit too high. He won here at Kansas a year ago, but that was in the Truck Series, and he told me it is so different in these Xfinity Series cars that it took him most of practice 1 just to figure out how to run this track in this car. But he said his confidence here comes from running up against the wall at Chicago and Las Vegas. Right now, though, he's just way too edgy in that 9 car to really run up against the fence.
And right now, that 9 car running in the 3rd position, just a couple spots back from him. He probably sees in his mirror the 2 of Tyler Reddick also running very high. Let's listen into his radio.
These guys are dancing all over the place.
Dancing all over the place.
The cars have lost so much speed, and they're just sliding around the racetrack. And what always happens is eventually the back will start sliding around, and when you're following other cars, just the back's moving around. See Tyler Reddick, that steering wheel input he's given the car. Yeah, ooh, that's what he's doing. He's chasing the back.
To me, though, that sounds fun. Really having to put the car, put the race in the driver's hands here.
It's fun as long as everybody's doing it, right? It's no fun if you're the only one out there doing it.
They're all dealing with it. I mean, watching these guys right now, the entire field pretty much is running the high line. 2 car had a little contact with the fence here.
I don't know if he touches it or just scares the decal so much on the fence it comes off.
There you go.
I think he did more than scaring.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't count that as contact.
That won't be the last time he touches the wall. Tyler Reddick, he's not scared of it.
I can assure you he doesn't count that as contact.
Well, yeah, the foam in the back behind the wall, it didn't even move.
Yeah, see? That's like a drive-by, Rick. That's just a touch and go.
Tyler Reddick running in the 5th position. Everyone's still chasing after Christopher Bell up front. Last week's Chicago crossover event proved that Wednesday's most watched dramas are better than ever. Chicago Med, Fire, and PD. It's an all-new Chicago Wednesday this week on NBC. And things heating up now as Gregson has a mirror full of the two of Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, Gregson got this position on restart, but he's not as fast as that 2 car, and that 2 car is having a hard time figuring out how to get by him because he wants to run the high side. Gregson's running there, taking that line away.
So how does he do it? You hear him working that throttle. You heard him blah, 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 just could not get the front of the car or the back of the car to work. He wants to be able to just lay in the throttle and stay in it, but hear him on and off of it.
So as soon as about 10 laps ago, I saw the entire field running the high line, and it made me think, can anybody pass on the bottom when they catch a faster car? Is that bottom so slick that you can't even make a pass down there? So this will be a good test to see if that 2 car can make some momentum. The 7 car, though, working that bottom.
You mentioned the 10 and how he raced. Well, the 7 has been working on Ross Chastain, and this is off turn 4. He thinks he has some momentum. I don't know if he touches or if it's just the air. Chastain would probably say he hit him. It's hard to say. This is a better angle from the side. We'll really be able to see.
Just shows you how much these cars are moving around. No contact.
Air, no contact. And now on the bottom right of your screen, you see the 7 now has a run. Will Chastain just give him the spot? Oh, it looks like he will.
Surprised to see that pass there. So we can, if your car's working on that bottom, you can make a pass. I feel like that top might be so dominant. The bottom would not be the way to go.
That answers my question. My question is, so how do you pass, right? Yeah. If everyone runs the top and all guy proves you can do it.
What about the looseness of this 10 of Ross Chastain when he got loose with another car around him, maybe pushing that air on him? Is that something that Chastain's a little bit nervous about? Maybe had to get out of the gas a little bit for Allgaier to get the pass.
Yeah, he definitely had to check up some. And it was absolutely the air on the nose of that 7 car, spinning that 10 car around.
And now that he's so successful following the 7, that tells me that maybe his car is a little too free. Now back behind the 7's tightening his car up a little bit, actually allowing him to close back in.
And you hear him feathering that throttle as well. Over 184 miles an hour. The top speeds here, 88 you see there for Ross Chastain.
See right there, the 7 working through for the lap traffic. That's the other thing I think we're going to see all day today is how you work through traffic. You know, as we get later into this race and we talk about the lead and positions, it's all, I think, how you catch lap traffic as the 7 goes for a big slide right there.
I think this 10 car is going to get better as the long run goes, Marty.
Austin Cindric coming to pit road, 9 laps in the stage. This is not a strategy play. About 5 laps ago, he said, I have a vibration. It's getting worse. He asked how many laps are left in the stage. They told him 10 a moment ago. He said, no way it makes it to the end. I am positive I have a loose wheel. You certainly don't want that, Steve, from the beginning of the race. A loose wheel. Austin said he feels like it's on the left side, but he knows he has a loose wheel somewhere. Certainly big playoff implications here. One of the ones that we felt like could be in Miami for the championship for. He did have that wall contact earlier on, but said it feels like more like a loose wheel.
So you're absolutely frustrated that you had this issue, but now the number one thing is you have to figure out, Brian Wilson, the crew chief, climb down off the pit box, look at the wheels, prove to yourself it was a loose wheel. Maybe it isn't. Maybe Austin Cindric is feeling something else, or if it was loose from the start of the race, was it just not tight, or do you have another mechanical issue causing a loose wheel?
I know they've changed the tire itself, but there could be still something in the construction of the tire that's similar, where this is a racetrack where they do get vibrations a lot in each set of tires. I remember in the Cup Series, even back in 2016, 2017, vibrations could sort of fool a driver into thinking he has a loose wheel when it's really just that particular set of tires is a little bit out of balance. So I don't know if that's still in the DNA of the tire that we're using now. They'll know here shortly.
You know, I mentioned get down off the pit box. They're looking, trying to look at it. You have, that's Brian Wilson, the crew chief.
This is the one racetrack where I think a lot of drivers are mistaken loose wheels and vibrations in the tire itself. Doesn't happen throughout the rest of the series or the other racetracks, but happens here a lot.
And guys, it was a loose right front. Destructive Travis Geisler with Team Penske. It was a loose right front. That's a tough one to take, Steve, because you knew that happened on the grid when all the wheels should be torqued for sure.
Absolutely. There's no, I mean, mistakes happen, but that's just an unforced error.
Yeah.
You know, in other sports, that's what it would label. That's what I'd label it here. Competition didn't make you do that. Something on the racetrack, not the schedule. That is just a mistake by this race team. We'll have to wait and see, though, before we label it as maybe just a wheel that didn't get tight and confirm there's not a mechanical issue that's causing these wheels to come loose. We'll keep an eye on the 22, but how about the 9 of Gragson right here?
I'm impressed.
I like it. I like what I see.
I'm impressed. We've seen consistency out of Noah throughout the season. A lot of top 10 finishes of late, but we haven't seen real raw speed out of this 9 car. Not race winning speed. Now he's up here contending with the big 3. Drove away from Reddick, challenging Custer.
This is what the playoffs do, though. They give a driver like Noah. This is the biggest stage. Doesn't matter what he's done all year long. He's gotten to this point. If he can go ahead and have a great round and go to Miami, that's all everybody will remember.
The question, though, is can he maintain that composure on this stage? He doesn't get that opportunity to really get up there and contend for the top 3 positions during a race. Look how close he is to the wall. Can he do that all day long without making that small mistake of trying to get a little bit more and getting that car into the fence?
Well, it worked. He was able to stay in the throttle enough to get a run. It goes back to the top of the racetrack. This is a great shot. It shows how that car looks stable from hundreds of feet away. Well, off this rear bumper, you see how unstable that 9 really is. A lot of car movement, sawing on the wheel like he's on a sheet of ice at almost 200 miles an hour right next to the wall. Now he is right in the wake of the 00.
Wow, what a great shot.
That is so good. Now the 9's going to pull to the bottom, try to get a run. Will Custer continue to fight him with 2 laps to go? We're going to see.
Yeah, Noah needs that point.
Oh, I like this, though. I think right here he's going to have a run. I think the 00 might actually overcook the entry. The 9's going to get in the gas a little bit sooner down the backstretch.
Every position is a point, and points so important they will be paid in one more lap. As Christopher Bell has been up front, and you hear Cole Custer had to get out of the gas there. Will that give the opportunity to Noah Gragson to make that pass? He tries to side draft him.
That's what's so difficult. They've been running that wall, so can Noah make this work? Can he keep that car on the bottom? Carrying that momentum? No, Cole Custer's going to get that run. See how loose Noah got on corner exit.
Gragson was sideways as he came out of the turn. Down the backstretch for the final time in stage 1, Christopher Bell. He has won 18 times, 18 stage wins this year. This will be his 3rd playoff stage win. And Christopher Bell has led every lap of stage 1. Everybody collecting points in the top 10. Cole Custer, Noah Gragson, Tyler Reddick, Justin Allgaier, Ross Chastain up there in 6th. Chase Briscoe was 7th. Brandon Jones 8th. John Hunter Nemechek 9th. And Michael Annett was able to stay up in the top 10. The only playoff contender that didn't get points was Austin Cindric after having to come to pit road because of that right front tire that was a little loose. Christopher Bell wins stage 1. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by the all-new Ford Explorer. Built Ford proud. And by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. It's perfect for race fans. And at the end of stage 1, there are the top 10 and the points awarded. Ross Chastain, as I mentioned, running in the Truck Series, so he doesn't receive points. But everybody else on the list there will be receiving them.
An impressive drive from Michael Annett. Started in the back, drove up, got 10th, 1 point. I know he wanted many more, but I wouldn't have expected he could have gotten 1 point starting that far in the back.
He fought his way back up into the top 10, and now it's time for the field to make their way onto pit road. They're coming at you, Kelly.
And first up will be Noah Gragson in that 9 car. He'll pit from the 3rd position. He said that the rear was a little bit edgy to start, but he thinks he can hang on to it. He told his crew chief, David Ellens, just to make whatever changes they thought they'd need to keep up with the track. 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. Then there's Christopher Bell in the 20 car who's led every single lap of this race. He fired off a little bit tight, but also ended up just a little bit edgy. 4 tires for him as well, Marty.
Cole Custer at the very front end of pit road said the car is a little bit loose on entry. He said, honestly, that's making me tentative with the wheel on entry, and that's where I feel like I'm losing my time. Also said he was 40 degrees below on temperatures, so they're going to put some tape on the grill and make an air pressure adjustment. Christopher Bell, Rick, wins the race off pit road.
Yeah, he's still up front, but it looked like there was an issue with the 9, Steve.
Well, we just talked how well the 9 did in that last run. He won't even leave in the top 10, and here's why. Completely overshoots his box, almost gets the line, catches the tire carrier. I'm not sure they could see him, misjudged it, but man, that's a miscue for the 9 car. Going to cost him a lot of track position.
Another busy day at the track. Tomorrow, NASCAR America pre-race at 1:30. Monster Energy Series countdown to green, all on NBC. And then, of course, Monster Energy Series playoffs from Kansas. It is an elimination race. Post-race coverage at 6 o'clock. That'll be on NBCSN. And Victory Lap at NBCSN as well, 6:30 A lot will be taking place from the Mobile One Peacock pit box on pit road. And want to listen in. We had just shown the 9 pit stop. Let's listen into his radio.
That's my bad. I was looking at my lights, just making sure I wasn't speeding, trying to get all I could. Sorry.
So Noah came in third. He's now 11th. Looking, I was on Noah saying he made a mistake, and he labels it a mistake, but I'm not sure. While he does charge into the pit box, you know, if you go in too deep, you should slide through. He gets it stopped. While it's maybe not perfect, he got in there, made up as much time. So the crew, I mean, I'm not going to say they got to jump early. They can't jump any earlier, but it's just an interesting combination. I'm not going to blame the driver for that. I thought he did a nice job. Another nice break. 22 of Cindric, we saw him pit under green, lose a lap with the loose wheel. Well, he took the wave around, so he'll be back on the lead lap just with some 9-lap older tires than the leader, Rick.
And a couple guys allowed him to go by them for this restart. It's once again Bell and now Custer making up row 1. Bell on the inside, Custer on the outside. And a little help from the 7 Cole Custer has, as Tyler Reddick trying to fight for that second spot on the inside of the track. Little tire rub there out of Cole Custer.
Once again, we see Reddick just not as good at the bottom of the racetrack. He goes to the bottom again and doesn't make up any ground on the 10 of Chastain. Look at Chastain in that black car with the green numbers. Big run on Allgaier in the 7.
Yeah, Allgaier a little bobble through the middle of the turn. That allowed the 10 of Chastain to take advantage of that bobble. Now we'll see if Allgaier can fight back on the bottom of 1 and 2.
Top is just, even on new tires, just carries so much momentum. I can't believe the 7 is going to give the top to the 2 behind him. Although the 2 is only running the middle of the racetrack.
And look at how close these two are running together. Now there's a little bit of bad blood between Ross Chastain and Justin Allgaier, so I'm guessing if one bumps into the other one, it'll be, remember, we've had this happen before on the racetrack.
It doesn't take long for those memories to pop back up when you're mad at each other, that's for sure. So Harrison Burton and Noah Gragson back there racing. Both of them didn't have good pit stops, lost a few spots.
So you mentioned Harrison Burton. We can reference that he is your son. How difficult is it watching him during a race?
It's hard watching him and this, right? So there you go. That's what I need right there. Single screen.
There he is once again.
You guys are killing me.
But you're proud, obviously. The news we mentioned earlier, he'll be running full-time in the Xfinity Series, driving the 20 car next year.
Something really interesting right here with the 9 car. Think about it, he was running up front, right? They put tires on this car, and now that 22 car has much older tires, able to get by him. Not running nearly as well early as he did early. Makes you wonder if they made a change or if we have some differences in tires.
See Reddick and Allgaier on the left of your screen. And it's Gragson and Cindric on the right side. And look at this battle for 4th. Reddick, who we saw early go up to the high side of the racetrack, and now Reddick's running the bottom of the track. Allgaier a little loose coming off of the turn. They're side by side for 4th.
You see Allgaier right there, not running the really top, kind of running the middle, maybe trying to pull a little bit of air off the side of that 2 car.
And every corner exit, it seems like we see the 7 get a little bit loose, a little squirrely. The 10 of Chastain has made it back in front of them, and now the lead heating up. Here comes the 0-0. Custer going to the apron, trying to get by Christopher Bell.
Cole Custer right now has got to be very disciplined. Get that left side tire right on that line. It's so hard when you're racing somebody, trying to carry speed into the corner to remain and keep that discipline that's needed. See Cole Custer, how far he's able to drive in the corner. Get those left side tires right on that line.
That battle for the lead. Now it seems as though Christopher Bell saw it, felt it. Like, wait a second, I don't want to be this close to anybody for second right now.
This is battle for 3rd continuing Ross Chastain's one of those drivers. He likes to run the top as well, likes to move around the racetrack. That's where Tyler Reddick wants to be. Ross has the position he wants. He's got to try to find a way to get in front of him so he can get his car up to the top. See Tyler how far he drives into the corner, but just cannot carry that momentum on corner exit that top allows you to carry.
Fun to watch these battles all over the racetrack. Battle for the lead on the left, battle for third on the right. Tyler Reddick trying to get that from Ross Chastain. You know, it's funny, the championship in the NASCAR Xfinity Series decided at a 1.5 mile racetrack. All year long, Cole Custer's team has really probably been the best, but Christopher Bell bought a brand new car to Las Vegas a few weeks ago and said, hey, we want to show we can compete with that 00 at a 1.5 mile, and they were the dominant car there. And I think the 00 camp, Steve, kind of feels like, hey, we need to get back in the game and say, hey, no, remember all year long, we were the best team at 1.5 miles. When it comes to Miami, we're going to have the advantage. Fun to watch these guys duke it out.
Yes, it is, and it's been fun all season long. And now the race is winding down in the season, and it's heating up. The championship is within sight. And right now, the battle for the lead, very hot between Christopher Bell and Cole Custer. Tomorrow, Sunday Night Football. Carson Wentz and the Eagles visit their division rivals, Dak Prescott and those Cowboys. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with Football Night in America. That's only on NBC. Thank you for tuning in. It's the Kansas Lottery 300 Xfinity Series battling it out here at the start of the round of 8. A win in this race by any one of the 8 playoff drivers, and you will advance the championship 4. And right now, it's Cole Custer out front. Here's how he got the lead.
Cole Custer drove underneath the 20 of Bell, and then I'm taking this spot. Actually, a little contact right here. A little bit of left front damage on that 20 car.
And the spotters are up on the back of the building in the background there, so they're going away from him.
Yeah, but I don't care, man. You're driving the car. Spotter's not driving it. You know what I mean? That's racing. Cole Custer didn't mean to run into him. It's just racing, you know. He thought he had a little more room than he did. Then this battle a little further back. It's 3-car battle. Getting at it.
Remember, this is over 170 miles an hour, and they're making some contact here.
Justin Allgaier was just saving his, and Briscoe happened to be there, I think is what happened. But now Briscoe goes to the top of the track. He's going to have a big run here. That was a beautiful looking middle of the corner.
Yeah, Justin's going to stay up the racetrack, not allow him to go to the outside. Chase wanted him to move over. He's like, I got the momentum off the corner. I would like you to get out of the way.
Oh, you just can't keep sliding up in front of him, Marty.
This is the battle that just keeps on giving. Everybody, it's a three-way battle if you count Brandon Jones back there as well, as Chase Briscoe finally gets the spot. He told me this morning, meaning Chase Briscoe in that white number 98 Ford, this is the worst we've been in 5 months. This is actually a race they had circled on the calendar as a race they felt like they could win, but they came here, struggled in practice. He said, we never really found it. They made wholesale changes. In fact, he joked, we went to a home improvement store and changed everything on the car. Clearly, they've made it better. And Steve, that's those fun weekends.
Slider in turn 3. Up into the wall he goes. It's the 18 of Harrison Burton who was sideways.
Bring it down pit road. Bring it down pit road.
May have been some contact. You see the right front tire is, well, the camber is completely off of that. And the 22 was around him. The caution has come out.
Yeah, remember the 22 had to pit in the first stage, went a lap down. He was out there on a little bit older tire. Let's see what happens right here. The 22 and the 18 on corner entry. The 22 just gets in the back of the 18 and then makes contact again.
Yeah, that contact with the right front into the 18 for the 22 could be an issue. Damaging the suspension a little bit with that car.
We used the word aggression earlier, and it looked like a pretty aggressive move there out of Austin Cindric trying to get by that 18.
Oh, that's big damage on the right front of the 22. You see the hole in the lower fascia. That's the biggest issue. I think they can get it clearanced okay. Heavy damage on the 18. Both sides are smashed in. Kelly?
And Harrison Burton in that 18 car not happy at all with Austin Cindric. He said, what is he trying to do, wreck us? And obviously they're bringing him to pit road. They said it looks like all the 4 tires are up, but they see something potentially broken on the right front there, so they're going to bring him down and see what they can do. But Austin not happy. Harrison not happy with Austin Cindric.
For initial, it looks to me like the 22 just gets in the back of him on corner entry. We didn't get to see the 4 laps leading up to that. Sometimes there's more to the story, right? We've seen everybody battle for the top of the racetrack. Was there some close racing or just a misjudgment?
Upper's broken.
Or was it on purpose?
He said the upper's broken.
They had been racing. They had been racing really hard, racing for this position, and Austin Cindric had gotten underneath Harrison, and Austin tried to pull a slider, drove way into the corner, slid up the racetrack. Harrison turns underneath him and drives back underneath him. And you know, like I said, Austin had been working him for lap after lap and couldn't get by him, and I think Austin just got frustrated.
Yeah, now he goes down in here, and I'm not sure he wants to spin the 18 out, but I'm sure he wants to send him up the racetrack. So he gets him in a little slot, and the 18 goes for a slide, but doesn't go up the racetrack. You see Harrison jumping the throttle to drive it back down the banking. That gets into the 22. So it looks to me like an aggressive pass gone wrong for the 22, Marty.
Austin Cindric on pit road with that right front damage. He said he was worried the right front was going to cut and go down. Now, for his side of the story, he said several times he tried to leave Harrison Burton a lane to go into, but Harrison Burton was, quote, all over the racetrack. So that was his side of the story, and said, sorry, guys, I was trying to leave him a lane. He left me nowhere to go at that point. So right front damage there for the 22. As we've mentioned, they've had a couple of issues today. A playoff driver here trying to get that fixed up for the rest of the race.
We've seen this on the Cup Series. Playoff and non-playoff drivers continue to get together. The end result, the playoff drivers have more to lose.
It's the first race of the round of 8, but definitely not the start that Austin Cindric wanted to have, and not the race that Harrison Burton wanted to experience. NASCAR Drive. That's your live race day companion. You can select up to 8 different cameras, or you can watch 4 at one time with the multi-camera view. You can visit NASCAR.com/drive or download the NASCAR mobile app today. Okay, let's take a look at the points now. Austin Cindric involved in that most recent incident. He's 21 points below the cutoff line, which right now, if you look below the line, it's based on Allgaier, who's in. Only the top 4 in points will advance into the championship 4.
Well, and if you're Cindric or actually on the net, any one of these guys, every spot matters, right? But when racing for these points, you can't put yourself in a position where you're damaging your car as well, because that sets you further back and makes your race much more difficult.
All right, Junior Steve, we've seen a lot of contact today. Are you guys surprised by that?
Well, this is a racetrack that we have seen issues before, and it's close racing at high speeds right next to the wall. We saw the 22 get into the wall, the 7 and the 10 don't make contact, but the air's there, and then Reddick.
Yeah, I think these guys know that this racetrack's slick. You're fighting for grip, fighting to get the power down, and if you can manipulate the car around you, using the air and so forth to make it difficult, you're going to try to do that. You see that mostly in the high groove. Coming off of turn 4, this guy's just getting close enough to upset that car in front of him.
There's these moments, right? When you catch a guy, if you can clear him, you then may gain 2 or 3 seconds on the next spot, where if you don't clear him and you get stuck in his way, that could cost you the next 20 laps trying to get past. And I think that's what it does, right? It pushes you into the, as a driver, oh man, I'm so close, I need those last 4 inches. You try to take it. And if the other guy decides he's going to not give, that's what happens. Dave.
Who's starting on the outside of row 4. That's the one of Michael Annett. Started in the rear, pitted early, got some chassis adjustment to help out his day, and he is running forward. You saw those points on the left. He was only 14 out with 3 races to get to the final round.
Custer and Bell, 1 and 2 up there. And it's Cole Custer who wanted that outside line, but Bell with an amazing restart might take the lead back as they go through 1 and 2.
You better have a good eye on Ross Chastain in the 10. He's going to run the top of the racetrack. He's going to come off turn 2 with momentum. He'll get to the outside of the 20, clear the 20. What's he going to do in the entrance of the corners? We have some smoke here off Cindric's car.
A little bit of tire rub potentially for Cindric. And now it's maybe cleared itself as we see the 20 of Bell now fighting with the 10 of Ross Chastain. How aggressive will Chastain be with Bell?
Very. That's Ross Chastain. But I was worried about Christopher Bell losing more than just that one position. I was worried he was going to lose a bunch. They were lined up on the outside. He drove in turn 3 and made it stick. Now, still, the battle's coming from Chastain. This Bell right here has got to be able to carry enough speed through the center of the corner. We see the 22 car. What's this smoke coming from? 3 wide. Oh, contact with John Hunter Nemechek.
A little donut there on the side of the 23. More contact. We talked about it this racetrack.
Now, it's a 1.5 miles, though. These race cars, you start moving these fenders around, pushing the quarter panels in, and they lose a tremendous amount of drive. Not the kind of racetrack you want to be making too much contact, although Austin Cindric's driven up to 7th place.
Custer up front, Bell, Chastain, Allgaier, Briscoe, the top 5. All right, Steve, Junior, you guys take it over.
Well, so remember, we had some rain this morning, cleaned the racetrack off, and I think we saw the top dominant early because it was clean, completely clean. Then that long green flag run at stage 1, everyone went to the top, and it almost looks like the bottom, while it isn't the preferred line, it has a little better chance holding on early runs.
Absolutely. A lot of these guys, especially the guy leading the race, has been using the bottom of the racetrack, hasn't quite ventured to the top. He does now in 3 and 4. This battle right here, though, Tyler Reddick using the throttle. Oh, he can't commit to the gas as the 98 still at the top of the racetrack. Coming off of turn 4, so close with that side panner.
And those are moments we talk about, right? 10 feet, 8 feet. If he could have got up in front of the 98, he might have had a chance to keep the position. He couldn't do it. And now we're back on board with Reddick, back on the attack.
Yeah, he was waiting for his spotter to please say clear. I want to get in the gas. 22 car having a little issue off of turn 2 here down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Austin Cindric's trouble is getting from bad to worse here. You just cannot.
You gotta come.
He's got a flat.
Yeah, the only option, come to pit road. Listen, you can't have a DNF. You just got to come, put tires on it. Looks to me like the right front is soft. Oh yeah, it's going to go straight. So we'll see the 22 come to pit road. Now back to battle on the racetrack. The 7 of Allgaier and the 10 of Chastain. Big move by the 7 to clear the 10.
Marty.
Wow, what a day for Austin Cindric, a playoff driver who's now going to go to the bottom of the playoff list, very likely. Next race for these guys will be Texas. They started the day with a left front that was not tight on the grid. Now they've had a right rear go down. They had contact with Harrison Burton earlier on the racetrack. It's been a tough day for this Team Penske Xfinity Series team. Going to change those right side tires as the battle on the racetrack continues, guys.
Wow, look at that 10 car. Ross
the
Chastain
7 slides up. I thought it was going to hit the wall. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, Ross Chastain was so tight on the back bumper cover that 7 car took all of the air. Any downforce that the 7 car had was gone completely all at once. Very challenging situation to put Justin in, but that's what we say about Chastain. That's his style. Look at him sideways.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Almost lost it here in front of the rest of the field.
I think that 10 is just so loose when he gets in traffic, it tightens up and he can go forward. By himself, it's just too loose. 3 cars go by, and now Reddick and the 7 will battle for the 3rd position.
All these guys are just really challenged for grip, and it's so fun to watch. I'm jealous.
I feel like we're at Lakeside. These guys look like they're running the dirt. They're so sideways.
Yeah, this is a good time right here. Look at those cars just yawed out. That Chase Briscoe car just yawed out in the corner. Half throttle, just trying to get the pedal down.
All right, so here comes Tyler Reddick. He's going to work on the 7 here. You have Briscoe in the 98. He doesn't look like he's quite as good as the 2. I think the 2 likes that the 7 leaves him that air on entry.
Look at the run
up
he
and
gets.
shuts it off on the middle of the corner, though.
Gets a little bit of a run through the center. That's where you want to make your momentum on the top, is on exit.
So see the different entrances, right?
Let him go in the corner. Oh, that's nice. Leave me that top open up. Even that little bit of a lane right there gives me the confidence I'm getting a little bit of air on the nose.
So why does Allgaier enter shallower? Just the way his car drives, or is it a driver preference?
He is not happy, and he's trying to move around just a little bit to find something comfortable. I think he's too loose to enter on the high side. Look how sideways that car is. He cannot enter on the high side. Kelly.
Yeah, another time replaced Harrison Burton wanted to end his day here at the Infield Care Center. Glad to see you're okay. A lot of hard racing between you and Austin Cindric. What ultimately happened there at the end?
I don't know. I always like to watch before I make a statement, obviously, but to me it just felt like I got flat out wrecked. It's unfortunate. I don't know. It's frustrating. We raced so hard, and we really struggled in the first stage, and I got our car better. We were making gains on it, and we were passing cars, and I guess he didn't want to race. He just wanted to wreck, is the way I understand it. Now I got to go back and watch before I say anything like that, but yeah, just frustrating. You know, we worked so hard for this, and this is everything that I want to do growing up, and something I want to do for the rest of my life. And I got a good opportunity next year, but I wanted to finish this year out strong. It's frustrating to get taken out like that.
Harrison, thank you. Of course, he'll be moving to the 20 car full-time next year.
Yeah, I mean, you hear what he's saying. He thinks that because of what just happened, that his career is compromised. And I remember that when I was young, and the first few opportunities that I had, I wrecked and didn't run well, and I thought, oh, my career's over. But it's not. You know, and he's going to get more opportunities. He's going to have a lot of opportunities next year to redeem himself. It just feels like, though, he had an opportunity today and he doesn't get to realize it, and that's very disappointing. But
the biggest thing I see is just shortens the learning, or makes the learning curve more difficult. Shortens it up, right? Didn't get to run all the laps at Dover. Now we hear today didn't get to run all the laps.
Here, the 22. More problems.
Care here best you can.
You know, without running those laps, you know, you don't get to learn, which is the whole idea. As you see this 22, the damage, now it looks like he has a right rear flat.
This is what we talked about earlier, though, Steve. If you're in that championship battle, you have to look at the big picture. You can't get frustrated about one car and get yourself in that situation. Now, think of the situation this 22 car is going to be in after this race. They have dug themselves a tremendous hole over frustration over one car that you're not even racing in the points.
Yeah.
You gotta be smarter, you gotta think big picture.
In the round before this, they averaged a second place finish in those 3 races. Justin Allgaier averaged a 3rd place finish. That's how you're gonna have to compete in this round to move forward. To be in that championship forward, you can't have days like this.
Yeah, why? Because the big 3 are the top 3. Custer leading, Bell second, Reddick third. I mean, I know people are like, guys, you keep talking about the big 3. This is why. Not only do they dominate in the win column, they take over races like this. So many opportunities for other guys to go up and grab the spots. These 3 have shut them out.
But you're going to want to tune in to the next couple of races. with Austin Cindric in a must-win situation. In a situation where he feels like he's got to go out there and make it happen, that'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, and you're going to want to tune in and watch the last laps here because Reddick, I think, has the best car in the field running third with two of his closest guys up there in first and second as we see the 9 trying to recover from those positions he lost on pit road.
So Custer's up front and Bell running second. Reddick is third. So the big 3, 1, 2, and 3. And Custer pulling away from Bell. This is going to be his 8th stage win of the season, as Bell dives down a little bit lower as they work their way through 3 and 4. But Cole Custer, the 21-year-old from California, wins stage 2 at Kansas. Every point matters, as we see Chase Briscoe, Noah Gragson crossing the line. So it's Custer, Bell, Reddick, 1, 2, and 3. Then Allgaier, Briscoe, Gragson. Mike Lynette was 7th. So again, more stage points for Mike Lynette. Ross Chastain, Brandon Jones, and Justin Haley rounding out the top 10. This time, an aggressive pass on Christopher Bell puts Cole Custer in front of the green and white checkered flag at the end of stage 2. Go places. And by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Perfect for race fans. A beautiful day for racing here in Kansas City, Kansas, as we look at the points that have been earned today. Again, you get points at the end of stage 1 and stage 2 if you finish in the top 10. And you see where Bell and Custer both with 19, both won a stage and then both finished second to the other in that stage. So a lot of points gained once again by the big 3. Reddick was right there behind them with 15 points. Let's listen in to Justin Allgaier's radio just moments ago.
So I'm not worried about the center, I'm worried about the exit. I can't put the throttle down and get down the straightaway. I can back my entry up and fix the entry. I got to get off the corner.
I like that feedback. To the point. Sounds like there was a debate on where they needed to fix the most between Justin Allgaier and his crew chief Jason Burdett. The veteran driver says, listen to me, this is what I need. There's 108 laps to go. I can fix this. You need to fix that. As a crew chief, that gives me a clear picture of when I'm trying to adjust. Kelly.
Christopher Bell in the 20 car coming to pit road. Once again, he fired off a little bit too tight, but this car quickly shifted to just being way too loose for him. So they're going to make a chassis adjustment this time to tighten him up a little bit along with those 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Dave.
middle of your screen. Same story for Tyler Reddick, and he doesn't want it to be too free because he's restarted third so many times. So 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Playoff point in the bank for Cole Custer, who's on the bottom of your screen. He said because of that caution and the cycle of tires, it made his car much tighter than it would have been had that caution not come out. So at the end of the run, car too tight. A nice stop by the 00 and a drag race off pit road with Christopher Bell, Rick.
Yeah, it's going to be Bell that gets the advantage coming off of pit road, so he takes the spot away from Cole Custer. A spot gained on pit road.
It's the single biggest night of racing in Supercross. 22 riders and one lucky fan have the opportunity to win $1 million. Tomac giving it everything he's got. Don't forget about the Joker lane. He's done it! He won all 3! Eli Tomac and Jesse Apear are millionaires! This is the Monster Energy Cup.
And it is crazy. That's right. Coming up at 10 tonight on NBCSN, it's Monster Energy Supercross live from Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas. Marty.
Hey, Rick, going to be an interesting restart. Cole Custer will start on the, I believe, the inside here. Is that correct? No, the outside. And look who's behind him, his teammate Chase Briscoe. So that's going to be fun. Christopher Bell did win the race off pit road, but decided to go to the inside lane. So those Stewart Haas teammates going to be on the outside. They should be able to help each other quite a bit.
Christopher Bell with a lot of confidence picking that bottom lane. You know, we've seen that outside get lined up and make it really difficult rolling the center of 1 and 2. So Christopher Bell picking this bottom shows you how much confidence he has that he can run through 1 and 2 on the white line and really run through there wide open, thinking he can beat the 00.
4 spots back on that high line is the 9 of Gregson. Let's listen into his radio.
Now that the 22 has took himself out of the race, I feel like we're going to have some green flag runs here. It's all about managing your long run. You're doing a great job with that. Just be smart with your passes. So, you know the game.
A lot of experience there. David Ellens giving him some advice as they get ready to start the third and final stage of the race.
Dave, you mentioned the experience, brought 2 young drivers to a championship with Reddick and Byron before.
So we'll see if this choice of the inside line works for Bell. He has a good launch there. Bell on the inside, Custer on the outside.
Custer working really hard. If he can get on that right rear quarter panel, the 20 to slow him down, he can't do it. Christopher Bell clear going into turn 1.
Pulling away, the fight now for third, 3 wide. Tyler Reddick on the inside, Allgaier in the middle.
Chase Briscoe on the very top is going to clear both of them.
Momentum prevails for Briscoe. He moves up to the 3rd spot.
That driver, that 98 car, that's the guy I think is going to join the big 3 in Miami. Continues to improve throughout the year.
So a longer run here in this stage, the final stage. And Steve, pit window about 58 laps. So they can't go all the way as there's 103 to go in the race, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. All of these drivers will have to pit. Oh, as the 7 gets really sideways, I couldn't tell if he hit the wall or had tire smoke. He might have just been so sideways that he was wrecking and didn't go all the way around.
Oh, look out. John Hunter.
23.
John Hunter in the really compromising position in the middle of 3 wide. No air on that car.
Yeah, I think the 7 and the 9 both lost the race car off of turn 2. Let's take a look. Justin, look at her. Oh, the 9 had a little tire smoke. Justin really sideways. I think the 9 made contact.
Two things. The 7 was sideways, the 9 was in the wall at the same time.
I think
Rick, so you were mentioning it. Yeah, all these guys will have to pit for fuel at some point in the middle of this stage.
I think they were all waiting for Allgaier to wreck. And distracted them a little bit.
Distracted me. I was just talking.
Bell, Custer, Reddick, Briscoe, Annette, top 5. Then it's
Probably should have kept the wedge in it, I'm guessing.
a little comment there about the handling, Dave.
Yep, and you can just see that he was not good on that. It was not good on the last run either. Said the car was terrible, and then we heard him talking about how he needed the exit of the corner fixed. So that wasn't apparently the right way. We'll see if Justin can recover here and get one more final adjustment somewhere in this stage. Maybe 2 if he needs them, Rick.
As that 7 car is struggling. Jeff, you said it, the 98 starting to perform here as he's putting a little pressure on Reddick for that 3rd position. Take advantage of it with that 7 car, the 9 car, having a hard time today. This is your opportunity. You saw the 22 car having problems. Pump that driver up. Tell Briscoe what's going on out there with his competitors in the points race. So he understands how to take care of this car the rest of this race and get the best finish he can.
Custer, a great run off of turn number 4, coming up for the lead as they go into 1. What a run he had through 3 and 4. So much momentum. Got all the way to the back bumper. And now a little bit loose for the 20 of Bell. Here comes Custer on the inside, trying to take the lead away again.
He cleared him big time. Bell had a big moment off of turn 2. Custer able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, Christopher back to the bottom. That was odd off turn 2, how he lost all that momentum. Didn't really see a big moment in the car, but inside must have been quite an issue for him to have to get out of gas that much. Now the 2 car, Reddick is in this battle trying to put a little pressure on that 20 car before he recovers.
I thought Tyler Reddick was going to be no problem right to 2nd, but then the 20 went to the top, and that really hurt Reddick. Let's see at this end of the racetrack. There we go. The 20 goes back to the bottom. His car might be better there, but I don't know if you can afford to give Reddick the top of the racetrack. Although right there he played with the throttle.
And Reddick gaining ground on the 20 as we go NASCAR nonstop from Kansas Speedway. Getting gear for the playoffs. Check out the greatest selection of t-shirts, die-casts, and more for all your favorite drivers. Visit NASCAR.com/shop today. And take a look at the big three. 1, 2, 3. Once again, Cole Custer's up front. Bell holding on to second right now. Reddick in the third spot. But all have had some pretty busy hands today around the racetrack.
This place is slick. Tires are wearing out. Tremendous amount of workload inside the cars.
Custer's been up front for 40 laps. Christopher Bell has led 69.
The best car right now is behind these guys at 98 car. Chase Briscoe ran the fastest lap that lap, and tucked in behind this 2 car. I think if he, like you said, Steve, if you get clear of this 2 car, drive on, seems to be much quicker.
So, Junior, we always talk about the big three, right, in the Xfinity Series. Rick mentioned a moment ago, they're 1, 2, 3 right now. That's why we talk about them. But who is going to be the 4th in Miami? I would say maybe Chase Briscoe is that guy. And this weekend is a perfect example of why. They struggled all day yesterday in practice. Never got a feel for it. I said earlier, Chase told me this morning, it's been 5 months since they struggled this bad. Yet here they are in the race. I took a stab at what the right setup was for the day. They're running 4th with a shot to win this thing with 90 laps to go. Chase Briscoe certainly making his vote of saying, hey, I want to be that 4th driver contending for the title in Miami, Dave.
Marty, I'm going to say it could be Michael Annett based on what I saw from yesterday today. Practice was not good. Had a lot of funky things going on with the handling of that race car, and you see him working that high line. Hey, just like he might have to in Homestead for the final race. And then today had a bad qualifying lap, said it was all on him. Started 38th today, has made good strides, and then he was reminded by his crew chief, Travis Mack, there are other guys kind of feuding up here. The 7 and the 2 have been all over each other, and the 10's involved too. Reminding him, if you're careful, we can score the points, and we can be the one. Kelly?
Well, don't count out Noah Gragson in that 9 car either. Remember, he told me he felt like there was certainly a way to chip away at that points deficit. He started 12 points below the cut line, but has collected a good number of stage points already today. And as you can see there on the left hand of your screen, that points deficit now to just 7 below the cut line. And this is a guy who's gotten really comfortable running up against the fence, which will be crucial at the championship race in Miami. So if he can join the big three there, Noah Gragson's certainly in with a shot.
I like what Michael Annett in the 1 car is doing. They won Daytona. He's having a great year, probably the best year he's had in the Xfinity Series. They are sticking with what they are good at, which is running and scoring points, eliminating mistakes, forcing the other ones, the favorites, to outrun them. I think that over 3 weeks is going to be their best case scenario. They've scored points in both stages here, and here they are running inside the top 10 in the closing lap. Well, I say closing laps in the final stage.
Michael Annett, Midwesterner.
I talked about, these rookies like Noah Gragson and Briscoe. We've never seen them in these high-pressure situations and how they're going to respond, and we wonder whether they're going to step over the line and make those mistakes, get their car into the fence in a day like today. I think that Annett's a guy can he push enough?
Right.
He's almost on the other side of the extreme of going a little bit too conservative, Marty.
Hey, Junior, what were you saying about Kansas being one of those racetracks where you just kind of feel vibrations in the tires as a driver? Well, Chase Briscoe came on the radio a moment ago and said, hey, are you guys sure you got all the lug nuts tight on that last stop? I'm starting to pick up a vibration. They've been warning him all day long, take care of that right front, and he's wondering now, and this would be a second vibration, if he might have a loose wheel.
So at this point, as a crew chief, I have to put it on my driver. Listen, man, we're here and we're ready if you feel like you have to pit. But I would follow that up with your X amount of laps from our fuel window, probably 24, 23 laps. So as a driver, at least have that target out there, right? If you can somehow get me 22 more laps, it won't kill our day. Oh, it sounds like it vibrates so bad that he can tell them it's the left rear. Tells me that the vibration could be getting worse.
We talk about this every time we hear a driver under green flag situations with a vibration. It is a horrible place to be as a driver. You don't know what the right thing to do is, especially a young driver. The last thing you want to do is come down pit road and they say, we didn't see anything wrong. Junior just talked about it. This racetrack is notorious for having vibrations and feeling like you have a loose wheel, and you come down pit road and they say it wasn't loose. And
just a very, very tough spot for a driver to be in.
2 spots in front of him, it's Christopher Bell running in that 2nd spot, Kelly.
Yeah, in time for that Toyota driver update, and I can tell you, in spite of the changes they've made on pit road, they haven't gotten the handling right on this number 20 Toyota for Christopher Bell. In fact, he said, if I could just drive the car hard, I could win this thing. And the team's saying, hey, just keep us in the game and we'll get better. But remember, Christopher told me ahead of this race, they certainly don't need to win. He told me the only race left they need to win this year is the championship race in Miami. He said, everything we've done this season has been in preparation for this round of the playoffs. And he's talking about those 7 wins they had coming in and all those playoff bonus points that they get to carry with them throughout the playoffs. They look to rely on those, and they're really focused on the championship race in Miami.
2 winningest drivers in the series currently running 1st and 2nd. Cole Custer with 7 wins, Christopher Bell with 7 wins. As we go NASCAR nonstop once again from Kansas. You saw Gragson get into the wall twice, and now he's on pit road, Kelly.
Yeah, the team wasting no time calling Noah Gragson down to pit road. They've got to give him 4 fresh Goodyear tires, and they really need to make sure they have good clearance on those tires so that there's not a tire rub when they send them back out. So they're going to take their time there to make sure they get the job done right the first time. But these composite bodies are a little bit trickier sometimes to get that clearance right. Looks like job is done. They're sending them back out.
Let's see how that happened. He's behind that 19 car, running the high side in the dirty air, gets a little bit loose. And bringing the right front around, that contact with the right front is probably the most concerning. You don't mind really bouncing the right rear off the wall. That's okay. And then going into turn 1 after that turn 4 contact into the fence again. Battle for the lead there.
It's under a half second.
Yeah, the 20 car's keeping it close. Keeping it close, passing him on the bottom. Tough.
And when we saw Noah Gragson come to pit road, he can't go all the way to the end based on fuel. There's still 74 laps to go in this race. and you can go maybe maximum 60 laps on fuel.
Yeah, so what he needs is for everyone to pit under green, and then somewhere in that final fuel run to have a caution come out. Because all the leaders have 2 sets of tires, put one on under green. If there's a yellow, you would pit another time and put on that set of tires. So if he was fortunate enough for that to happen, that would kind of bail him out of that mistake.
And that's what we talked about with these young drivers is being in this high pressure situation. How will they react? Will they be able to understand how to get themselves to the finish, to the end of the race with the best possible points day? Now Noah put himself in a deep hole, made the situation easier for Briscoe and those guys around him. Justin Allgaier. Justin having a tough run here, lost a lot of time.
And he talked about all these guys running right against the wall, so how are you going to pass somebody? So what you got to try to do if you're Christopher Bell, we just saw Noah Gragson make a mistake. They're all running so close to the wall. Look out of the front with this Toyota cam. Look how close to the wall that Cole Custer is. One little mistake and he's in the wall. So Christopher Bell, although yes, there's no opportunity to maybe just drive underneath him, go put some pressure on him. Make Cole Custer try to step his game up and then overstep his bounds and then make a mistake and get in the wall.
He needs to be very careful because as Christopher Bell searches around to the bottom of the racetrack, and I understand why he's doing it, and he has room to do it currently. It's about 1 second back to Tyler Reddick. I bring that up because if you get searching around too much, next thing you know, you're going to have Tyler Reddick in the 2 car and your right rear quarter panel going by for second.
There's Reddick, and he is about 1.5 seconds behind Cole Custer, which puts him a second behind Christopher Bell.
It's just a great opportunity for all of these drivers, especially these top 3, to be able to put the thing right on the boards and run right against the wall, because that's what you're going to have to do in Miami. You can't run 8 inches from the wall. You got to run 2 inches from the wall down there. The speed, the closer you get to it. This is an opportunity for these guys to practice that, put themselves in that situation. Look at Reddick. Look how close he enters the wall on corner entry, then just tries to stay there. Look at that.
Right up against the wall. You mentioned learn. These drivers are all young. I mean, Cole Custer leading this race. He's 21 years old. Tyler Reddick is 23. Christopher Bell, 24 years old. All still looking to make that move into the Cup Series. The only one that doesn't right now have a role or a ride in the Cup Series is the 00, Cole Custer. Let's go through the field, Marty.
Cole Custer out front, about to lead his 63rd lap of the day, and about less than 20 laps from stops. They've made their living on long runs today. When I asked Mike Shipwood, though, a lot of people think this is a great place to test for Miami to run the wall. He said, you know what? I disagree with that. I think Darlington is the best place to go learn from Miami, running against the fence. And guess what? Cole Custer that day won at Darlington a few weeks ago, Kelly.
Christopher Bell running second, got his first career Xfinity Series win here a couple of years ago. So he said Kansas Speedway will always have a special place in his heart because of that. But he also likes how you can attack this track when you're running up against the fence. Well, they don't have the handling right to do that just yet, but they promised him more adjustments on his next pit stop, Rick.
Getting a little bit tighter there for the lead. And for second, as you see the 2 of Tyler Reddick, it was a second that was separating those 2 cars. Now it's less than a half a second. And traffic coming into play. So not only are they having to negotiate which line to take, but now they have cars running the high line or the low line. They've got to be able to negotiate through that as well. Christopher Bell slides up in between 2 of the lap cars. And now the gap closing. Here comes the 20 of Bell. Bell for the lead to the bottom of the racetrack. But here comes Cole Custer fighting back on the outside.
Christopher Bell, that's the deal, man. Just keep putting pressure on. Try to force Cole Custer into that mistake. Catch him in lap traffic. How many times have we seen lap traffic impact these races? Brandon Brown running 11th. Having a really good day getting lapped right here, but that's a really solid run for these guys. And ahead of him is Ryan Sieg having a solid day.
Longest green flag run of the day, 39 laps. That's why we're seeing more cars being lapped on this really long run. Ryan Sieg, the next car in front, is running 10th. He's the last car on the lead lap.
With green flag pit stops about 15 laps away, maybe even 10 laps away, Jeff, The whole idea is stay close enough. If you're the 20 of Christopher Bell, stay close enough to the 00 that maybe you can pit 1 lap sooner and try to jump him on pit road, right? Use those new tires to try to gain that, 3 or 4 tenths of a second to get the lead through the pit cycle.
And running second provides you that opportunity,
yes.
Right? You don't talk about it on the radio. When he drives in the middle of 3 and 4, say pit, 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 and surprise Cole Custer.
Let's go NASCAR nonstop. In 2 weeks, the Xfinity Series playoffs will resume at Texas Motor Speedway. It's another chance to earn a spot in the championship. That's Saturday, November 2nd on NBCSN. A lot of the coverage will come from the Mobile One pit box, which we love to see as we see the 20 there of Christopher Bell. Maybe made a little contact with the wall coming off of turn 4.
Christopher got hung up a little bit off turn 2. Lost a ton of momentum, and that's allowed Reddick to get right to that rear bumper. It's amazing how much Reddick is on and off of the throttle.
I feel like that's new, right? We've rode along with him in a lot of these tracks.
Wiped off, buddy.
Listen to it. Oh, it's such a hard pass. But even if you get there, can you do anything with it? It's so difficult.
While we were in break, he reported that his car was running hot. Now, the team reminded him they put a pretty big piece of tape on there to keep it warm, as you see Bell's car yaw out like that. But he thought it was too hot, perhaps, so they said, well, just in case there's some little debris on there, get up behind the 20 car as close as you can. Don't pass him. And the air pressure differential there, sometimes that can pull away those little pieces of debris and maybe cool the 2 car back down a little bit.
You see the big piece of tape there. 290, that seems pretty warm. Well, the one advantage they do have is 48 laps on this set of tires, 56 laps to go. Ooh, I like that. I think this is going to look like a strategy call, but we know perhaps it's the temperature bringing the 2 to pit road.
I wonder, though, with Reddick making that call, and it was public, everybody heard it, would Bell and his team answer? Would they come down pit road also? He drove to the bottom.
Yep.
That makes me think he's coming.
Yep, I think you're right.
Yeah, want to be the first ones on pit road. No, Bell continued on.
Yep, Reddick's going to come, but Tyler's the only one, and caution is coming out, and if it came out right before he got to the line on pit road, it's going to be closed.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the ruling is right here. Where is the leader? They'd be better off to go ahead and do their pit stop right here. No, don't. Oh, they should have stopped.
But Steve, if pit road was closed when he came onto it, he can't do his service.
Yeah, I would have gambled, because if it wasn't closed, you're now the leader of the race.
Yeah, but if it was closed, you're pitting.
You're penalized.
Yeah, it's a huge penalty.
Tail end, though. It's the same penalty regardless either way. He's going to be 10th.
Close, it's hard to say. I can't give you a yes or no.
There you have it. They weren't sure if it was closed or not.
I would have risked the penalty versus the advantage.
He's gonna come out about 7th. He's gonna come out about 7th, the way that all blended out. Otherwise, he would have had to start at the tail end of the longest line, which would have essentially been about maybe 16th or 17th.
The one in the wall, Michael Annett into the wall, brought the caution out. He ran the whole length of the wall, it seemed like. And so now unsure if the caution was out. So when the caution comes out, pit road closes immediately.
It's irregardless now, though, since he didn't stop in his box. You were allowed to do what he did. If you come down pit road and it goes to a red light situation and you roll through pit road, there's no penalty. So really, it has made no effect. You know what I mean? It didn't hurt him. He's not going to be penalized either way. He just lost the opportunity. The gamble was if you feel you got on pit road before it closed, because the rest of the field instantly saw the yellow and they're out of the gas, you can do your pit stop and not lose a lap. Where the twos pitted, he's right before the start fit. I mean, everything lined up to have the absolute luckiest break in the world. The team just didn't choose to gamble whether they got on pit road in time or not. You know, for the fans say, well, how do they not know? Well, the light is kind of right there. You see it, it's green to the right there above the Speedway sign. If you pit under green, you're looking at your tack. You don't really look at the light.
And now the field will come to pit road. It is open. We'll start with Kelly.
Christopher Bell in that number 20 car pitting from the second position. This time, Christopher said that his car fired off too free, but then migrated to the tight side of things. So they're going to give him an air pressure adjustment for Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. Marty?
Kelly Cole Custer had been so good on the long runs all day long, really had an advantage there, but clearly on that run they lost a little bit of that advantage. Custer saying it just got way too tight on him and it didn't free up at all. So going to be an air pressure adjustment here trying to free him up. His Stewart-Haas teammate Chase Briscoe at the front end of pit road, the very first stall. No mention of that vibration after the first little chat about it. He said he too tighter on exit. Cole Custer wins the race off pit road. The 98 comes out second. Bell loses a number of spots, Rick.
Yeah, he's going to come off 4th off pit road, so not a good stop for the 20 team. We'll see if Cole Custer can hang on up front. Only 52 laps remaining in the Kansas Lottery 300 as we see what's taking place tomorrow on NBC, the NASCAR America pre-race show. Countdown to green, that's coming from the Mobile One Peacock pit box right on pit road. And then Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs from Kansas That's 2:30 start time Eastern for that race. And of course, post-race coverage and victory lap will both be on NBCSN after the race. Dave.
Tyler Reddick came down pit road, and they adjusted his race car for a little bit of a loose race car, but also got that debris off the front of the grill. There was some on there that wasn't intentional, so that was a good thing. Temperatures will come back down there. And then, they tried to find the positive after coming down pit road and at the wrong time, so to speak. The positive was, Tyler said, I'm not starting third. Has had trouble there all day, restarting on the inside on that front group. So, Steve, any other positives out of this you see?
Well, you're selling a lot of positives. I'm not real sure. They had a car. To your point, they had to come. The temperatures forced them to pit road. I thought they got really, really lucky and were going to get some track position. They did not, so unfortunately he will be starting deeper in the field. The positive is that they have a good race car, and he's been good on new tires if he can get to the top. He's not good on the bottom, so we'll see if he can get fortunate enough to have a good restart.
Okay, so now with 51 laps to go, Jeff, we've already seen a lot of the playoff drivers with issues today.
Noah Gragson having a good day. A lot of speed early. Comes into his pit stop. It's hot. Gets a little bit deep in there. Lost a lot of spots. Went back to about 11th. Austin Cindric in the wall early. Then more contact. Damages right front right here and the right rear. And another issue, trying to go 3 wide. Contact again on the right side. Chase Briscoe having a good day in the wall, as a lot of people have been. Noah Gragson got really comfortable running the wall, way around on him that time, made contact, had to pit on the green. Made contact again right after that. That forced him to pit road. Noah has recovered decent though. Noah right now will take the wave around before they go back green. That's going to let him get back in the lead lap. This is round 8, how they run right now.
So 2 points separating Briscoe and Allgaier for that final spot. But again, it won't be determined until the race at Phoenix at ISM Speedway. That will be when the top 4 are determined who will be in the championship 4. If you win, though, you automatically have a spot. There's Mike Lynette coming back onto pit road. See all the damage to the right side as he was riding the wall. Brought the caution out. 5 cautions already today.
All right, Rick. My gamble would have been wrong. The 2 made a great decision as they come to pit road. That light you see highlighted is green. It's still green, and look, right before it gets to the line, the light has switched to red. So he did not get on pit road in time. So if he would have stopped, the penalty would have been pitting while pit road is closed. You'd have been the tail end of the field. There is no penalty to roll through. There used to be, but NASCAR said, look, you didn't mean to. It was green when you went by at 60 miles an hour. You can't, I mean, we froze it. Tyler Reddick can't stop. He can't take a right and go through the grass. So they said, so no harm, no foul if you just keep on rolling at pace car speed. That's what Tyler Reddick did. So unfortunately, Dave a minute ago asked if I could come up with some good news. There you go, Dave. The good news is if they would have pitted, the penalty would have been much worse. Now outside row 3, I think Tyler Reddick still has a great chance to win the race. Great call on top of the pit box to not gamble.
I like that positivity, Stevie.
And they also hopefully took care of maybe the heat issue. He was complaining a little bit about that engine getting warm, so maybe pull a little tape off the front.
At least some debris, it looked like. They left the tape, but we'll see. Either way, though, 50 laps to go. A lot riding on this restart.
Brandon Jones starting in the back of the field here on this restart.
Custer on the outside, Briscoe on the inside. First time he's been up front for a restart. And a big push from Christopher Bell in the 20. Briscoe up front in Kansas.
That push shoved Christopher Bell right up into second place.
Oh, we got trouble right here.
Way out of line is the 0-0 of Cole Custer. He tries to come back up.
That was a huge save.
And we stay green.
What's he going to do here? He's going to blend back on to the racetrack. Let's see how that happened off of turn 2. He got turned completely sideways.
Yeah, hit hard by Justin Haley in the 11.
Wow. That shot him way down the racetrack, and then look how out of shape he is, and then you know, being very cautious, not blending back up into the racetrack, afraid he was going to get into another wreck.
I think he was trying to catch his breath on that one.
Outside, in the middle.
That's almost gone right there. That's as close as you can get.
Gather it up.
I bet he thought he was.
Back up when you can.
So right here, see, he could have jumped back up in there, but now there's no lane. So a wise move to not lose patience and just try to make a hole where there wasn't one. We talk about drivers making mistakes, right? He's still in the lead lap in 11th place. If he just jumps up there and causes a wreck and gets in it, then he's got himself in a bad spot.
I mentioned Brandon Jones had to start in the back of the pack on this restart. He had a safety violation, knifing his way up through the field back in the 10th spot right now.
All right, so Cole Custer, Marty, it seemed like a wild ride for him.
Wild ride indeed as the battle up front heats up for the lead, Rick.
Yeah, once again, we're seeing things up front get very warm, at least for Chase Briscoe. He hasn't been up front, but now for 3 laps, and here comes Bell going to the bottom of the racetrack.
Got the apron there. I don't know if that was by design to help it turn or just got a little bit too low. It looked like he hit the apron.
The run before this, the 98 car had great early run speed. The first half of the run really fast. Seemed like, though, he lost a little bit of that speed compared to the other opponents out there on the back end of the run. But this is a great position for him to be in. Man, what a victory would do to the point situation if he could come out of here with a win today.
Yeah, Cole Custer did not want to be the guy hanging a left right there on the back straightaway, saving it, but everybody else loved it. They loved to see that. Cole Custer's been setting the pace. Now there's an opportunity. Cole Custer's not going to be able to drive back up through the field. He's going to need a caution and great restarts to get there. Who can take advantage of this?
Briscoe trying to run the race of his life here at Kansas. Chase is out front, the second car for Stewart-Haas Racing. 24-year-old from Indiana.
Chase Briscoe, I was at a tested Homestead earlier this year. Chase Briscoe got committed to running that wall. When I say running that wall, I mean inches away from that wall, and got really, really good at it. So as this run progresses, you can expect to see Chase Briscoe entering really high, left side, right against the wall, maintaining that distance away from the wall throughout the whole corner. I think he has every bit of confidence that he can do it for a long time. I watched him do it lap after lap down there, and he's going to try to put that into practice right now.
Look what happens if someone other than one of the big 3 wins the race. Look at the points on the left side of your screen. 34 below, 48 below, 50, 70 below for Cindric. Those are a position on the racetrack. 1 point is a position on the racetrack, and already Austin Cindric, he's going to need 2 races just to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, a 98 winner makes the 22, 1, 9 all must wins, the 7 on the door of a must win, barring a disaster early in their next race.
So let me paint another picture. Let's say this goes ahead and this happens. Chase Briscoe were to win this race. What then if Justin Allgaier won a race?
Yes.
Now this big 3 we've been talking about over and over and over, now somebody's going home. So all of these big 3, they are not pulling for a surprise, quote, surprise winner. They don't want that. They'd rather the 20, the 00, the 2, they'd rather them win, even if it's not one of them, because it makes it easier for them moving to Miami.
And boy, if he does come through with the win, look at that. It puts the regular season champ on the cut line moving forward in the round of 8. You know, talking to Richard Boswell, the crew chief for Chase Briscoe, he said the biggest thing we worked on all year long was actually early in the weekend, practice, qualifying. He said our qualifying and our practices earlier this year were terrible. We had to work on that, and his feedback to help him be a better race car driver. He told me we would spend the first half of races just digging out of a hole. Now we've gotten better at that, and it's put us in this position to maybe win here in the round of 8, guys.
I like the 98 car's speed. The one concern, if there is one, is that the 20 of Christopher Bell has been able to run the bottom and the top of the racetrack in 3 and 4. Dale, that makes me think if he can get close enough, he knows he can run the bottom, which the 98 hasn't gone to, and may be able to complete the pass. Another thing to keep in mind, Jeff, you just asked me, 39 laps to go, right? Another set of tires in everybody's pit, so a yellow, I assume, would bring all the leaders to pit road.
Right now on the lead lap, 11 cars. Noah Gregson is the furthest back in 11th. But running in that second spot, just 0.4 of a second behind Briscoe is Bell. Kelly?
And when this race restarted with 50 laps to go, Christopher said over the radio, man, that is a long time. And he has been chipping away at the lead of Chase Briscoe ever since. The team telling him if he can get a better run off of turn 2, it'll help him run the bottom in 3 and 4. That's the way they're trying to approach him to get a pass on Chase Briscoe. Remember, oh, we got a spinner.
Spin on the back stretch. It's the 23 of John Hunter Nemechek. And that will bring the caution out again. Okay, is it too early to put the tires on now with 37 to go?
So let's take a look at what happened to the 23. We see him up top running. Just gets loose on corner exit.
He was running in 12th place, which would have been the first car 1 lap down.
So, Rick, to your question about tires, I think it's interesting that Briscoe and Bell are the two. Remember, the one race this year that Briscoe did win was at Iowa on a nice pit call. They saved a set of tires. A late yellow came out. Sure. Bell didn't have tires to put on. Briscoe did and drove back through the field. With only 11 cars on the lead lap, I think you have the chance to save a set. If you're the only guy that have tires with 5 laps to go in this race, you could drive by everyone. So it's going to be interesting if anyone dares put on their final set of tires now.
Hey guys, real quick, Richard Boswell told Chase Briscoe, we're coming, and we're going to drag everybody else down pit road with us. So decision made on the leader in the 98, Steve.
If I'm Travis Mack, I do whatever they don't. If I'm the 9 of Gregson, I do whatever they don't. I do not follow the leader down pit road. It was closed this time by.
I was going to ask you, if you were Cole Custer, what would that team do where they are? Cole Custer coming off turn 2, saw that incident. Fortunate nobody got in it. I'm interested to see Cole Custer running in 8th place right here. There's only 11 cars on the lead lap. Not much risk, really, if you're Cole Custer to that team for staying out right here if everybody else pits, or doing the opposite.
Get down, back it down, stay high, get on through.
I think the issue with Gregson is that he's on old tires.
He waved around, yeah.
Waved around, so he's got the oldest tires of anybody.
He's going to have to probably pit, to your point, just for fuel. But I like what Jeff was saying from Custer, right? He's going to run in the top 10, right or wrong, pit decision. I mean, he's fast enough. It doesn't really matter. There's only 11 on the lead lap. He's not looking for a top 10, Jeff, right? He's looking for ring the bell, win the race, forget about the next 2, focus on Miami. That's Cole Custer's goal here today.
And the advantage, what was a disadvantage, right? He got in the back of that pack, but now that's become an advantage because now they can watch, see what every other team does, and make a decision based on what they do.
I mean, so then let's talk about non-playoff guys, right? You have both Kaulig racing cars, Chastain in the 10 running 4th, Haley in the 11 running 6th. I as well would try to split strategy, probably even split between the 2 cars. I might have Haley do one thing and Chastain do the other just to try to cover our bases.
And really applaud those teams, the 10 and the 11, for going through the adversity that they had to go through this week. Again, the 10 hauler crashed on its way to this racetrack, so they had a lot of backup things they had to deal with. Kelly.
Christopher Bell in the number 20 car pulling off to make his pit stop. He said his car is still a little bit tight for the first 2 to 3 laps, but then it swings a little bit free, asking to be tightened up a smidge. There you see the chassis adjustment. Dave?
Tyler Reddick just a little bit loose right now. He'll come down for 4 Goodyear tires, a chassis adjustment, and a splash of Sunoco fuel to get him to the end, Marty.
Chase Briscoe said the car's pretty good. He did brush the wall, but he was worried that he might have a little bit of a tire rub, but they're going to make no changes here. 4 fresh Goodyear tires. And Steve, you called it, Travis Mack making the call to leave Michael Annett on the racetrack as Chase Briscoe will win the race here off pit road.
He does Tyler Reddick, and it's 3 wide coming off pit road for the 3rd spot. Looks like Bell's going to get the advantage there. Chastain, Brandon Jones. This is why the caution came out, the 6th caution of the day, sideways.
victory.
Back-to-back victories for this 19 hot rod team. Come on.
He will get redemption on the roll.
Yeah, buddy.
Kyle Larson gets the win in dominating fashion.
Hell yeah, buddy. Congrats. Awesome job.
It is an elimination race tomorrow for the Monster Energy Cup Series. Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, they're not getting eliminated. They have won the last 2 races, so they will advance into the round of 8. But Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Clint Boyer, William Byron all fighting for points and possibly a win so that they can advance to the round of 8. That is tomorrow on NBC.
Be fun to watch. Got 3 Hendrick cars outside of that top 8. Then Clint Boyer, hometown guy. Be interesting to see what kind of races they can bring and try to get themselves moved forward.
Got a lot of guys with different ideas on what fast is, what's going to be fast. You know, we got Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson qualifying really well. Brad Keselowski in 4th. Brad's teammate, though, Joey Logano, in 29th in qualifying with a different theory on what they need for their car to race well.
Yeah, and what is the goal other than advancing? My question is, does Alex Bowman think they can do it on points? Are they going to have to gamble for the win? A lot has to do with how Joey Logano runs in the race. I think we're going to have to wait and see.
And an issue before qualifying for Kevin Harvick, they didn't even actually get to make a lap, so they'll start at the back of the field. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, NBC, it's NASCAR America pre-race. Again, countdown to green. Make sure to watch on the Mobile One Peacock Pit Box. That will be at 1:30, and then the elimination race starts at 2:30 p.m. Eastern for the Monster Energy Cup Series right here in Kansas. Post-race coverage and victory lap will be on NBCSN. All right, let's listen into Michael Annette's radio. He's up front right now.
I think it's a good play here. Your car is just coming to you. I think they'll take the top lane here and just run like hell.
Briscoe will be on the inside.
So Annette's got some older tires on. Briscoe had control of the race. Now we'll have to restart in the lower lane, not in control of the restart. He's hoping he doesn't get taken advantage of on this restart, and he's able to somehow get by Annette really quickly.
Annette's
maintain the lead.
Annette's got a set of tires in his pits no one else has.
Back to green. Up through the gears they go, side by side for the lead. A little shove there, and now Christopher Bell decides, I'm going to move over. I'm going to fight for the lead as well. 3 wide for second.
Couldn't get any easier for Briscoe to be able to get control of the race back. Annette just did not have a great restart there, even on those older tires. Already back to 5th place.
Yeah, so then at this point, you just want to try to keep the car in one piece and hope you get a yellow to use that set of tires Jeff mentioned. Nice corner from the 98. Oh, contact between Reddick and Bell.
Wow, that was close.
As that's going on, Briscoe putting car links between himself and these 2 guys here battling for second.
Chastain, he goes up to the 3rd lane, trying to get a little clean air. Bell, I think, sees it. So he's going to slide up, take that air away.
How about Brandon Jones back there in 5th place, worked himself up since that penalty.
The 20 runs him a little tight. Doesn't allow the 10th 2 car to use the racetrack any there. Oh, the 10's loose.
Oh,
He's
wrecking it.
A lot of debris there.
A lot of debris as he got the tail end of that car. Ross Chastain, that 10, got in the wall. He's looking behind him now.
A lot of downforce, side force there. Still outside.
He's been notified quickly by his team that they've hurt the quarter panel. The car's going to be really loose after that.
Look how loose he is.
Wow.
The only thing that saved him from spinning out was the wall.
All that stuff coming off the wall is decal and paint.
Listen to the rear tires. You could hear the rear tires squealing.
Coming outside, big run.
Yeah, slamming into the wall on corner exit here at turn 4. Ross Chastain able to keep it going straight, and no caution comes out. It stays green. We stay racing. So, Junior, Steve, take it over for a while.
You can see Ross down the back straightaway.
He's just going to try to get through the last 29 laps here without an issue.
See how loose it is with that quarter panel crushed. No side force in that car. The one car maintaining right now in 6th position. Doing better than I thought he would do with his older tires.
Yeah, he settled in after that really poor restart. You mentioned he gave up 5 spots on the restart. Now he's settled in.
Yep, Justin Haley trying to get back to the 9 car in the fence.
Yeah, some smoke. Everyone, I think, has hit the fence at some point today.
Truex just trying to get a little bit too much. At this point in the race, you know, you just got to kind of preach to these younger drivers. Like, look, this is what we've got to accomplish. This is how we need to bring this thing home. He drives into the corner here, top of the racetrack. It's like it just just gets into it a little bit too much. Just trying to get a little bit too much there. It's so fun to run that high side. It invites you to be aggressive. Kelly.
No, Gragson had told me that he was going to be a little bit more aggressive than he normally would because he's trying to make up that points deficit that he started this race with, but it has cost him. He's been in the wall a number of times. The team reminding him, though, that he is now back on the same sequence as the leaders, and he's got a fast race car to work with.
I think that theory might have been run through upper management before he decided. I'm not sure. That would have been the move. The slide job by Reddick, the crossover by Jones. That's going to open it up for Cole Custer. Is he going to get 2 for 1 down the backstretch?
Goodness gracious. They're needing the whole racetrack for all that. Down in the corner, though, Cole Custer's going to take the spot, gas it up, drive up in front of both of these guys, take their air.
And as that's happening on the left-hand side, Christopher Bell has inched in closer to the 98 of Briscoe. Been working the bottom of the racetrack in 3 and 4 and making it work. And now he sticks with the 98 off turn 2. All right, the 98 has a decision to make, bottom or top. Where's he going to run in 3 and 4?
I think that, you know, you run the top, and if the 20 goes to the bottom like this, you come down the racetrack and force him not to be able to open the wheel up and get in the gas on corner exit.
That 20 is so good around the bottom of the racetrack. The question is, can he stay close enough through 1 and 2, running the same line as Briscoe? You're going to see him chase in there. Tries to run a fender lower, right? Try to get a little air to the nose. Gets in the gas, trying to run the 98 down. I think he's going to be there inside him in 3 and 4 for sure, but can he clear him?
Guys, I think Christopher Bell's plan. We've seen several drivers try that slider. We just saw Reddick try it on Brandon Jones. I think that's going to have to be the play here. Christopher Bell enter right on the rear bumper of Chase Briscoe and just try to pull that slider and get into turn 1 or turn 3.
So we're going to see right here, a few car lengths back. I like what you're thinking, Jeff. So you're thinking he has to just get close enough to slide him.
Yeah, because unless Briscoe's car falls off and loses a ton of speed, he's fast. You know, it's not like he's a slow car. Like Bell's just going to be easily be able to drive to the bottom and beat him.
I like that right there.
Yes.
Entering that line and maybe maintaining that line if you can. A little bit lower. We've seen how if he can get close enough to that car in front of him, running just a little bit lower on that left rear quarter panel, can upset that car. They're not able to use the gas when you get that car upset.
And he could screw everything up if Briscoe stays up front and wins this race as we go NASCAR nonstop. It was just that close. Christopher Bell looked like he had the position and was going to take away the lead from Briscoe, but couldn't do it. Look at how tight this is.
Marty Snyder just told us that Chase Briscoe was asking for some help with these lap cars, and this is why. Brandon Brown, see right there, went to the bottom, gave both of them, well, almost enough room. Christopher Bell made it 3 wide. That's great racing.
So Chase Briscoe up front is screwing up the plans for the big 3. They thought, oh, it's going to be somebody that's going to join us. Well, if Briscoe wins this, who knows if all the big 3 are going to make it in. Now, Bell once again diving to the low side of the racetrack, trying to take away that top spot.
Junior, I think that now.
Contact! They both hit! Bell slams into the Briscoe, and now Bell across the grass. The 98 was sliding.
How much damage? Look at all the damage on that 20.
The right front destroyed on the 20 of Bell. The caution has come out again with 16 laps to go. Stopped on the racetrack. Garrett Smithley.
Let's see a replay here. See if the 98 car got through this relatively unscathed. See if what kind of damage he may have gotten. Oh yeah, a lot of left front damage.
Yeah.
Man. That was a great battle they had going on right there.
It looks like the 0 made the 98 check up.
That's very possible. It looked like the 98 had to slow down a little bit for Garrett Smithley. See Garrett Smithley right here coming up the racetrack.
He did, absolutely. Good call, Rick. Looked like the 98 lifted, not knowing exactly where the 0 was going to go.
Check this shot out.
Good on exit.
Yeah, I think both of these cars assume the 0 is going to run the bottom, give them the top 2 lanes.
Lock it down.
He instead does not. The 98 checks up. The 20 is committed.
Yeah, and in fairness, you know, the 0 of Garrett Smithley with these guys coming up just needs to stay on the bottom of the racetrack, right? There's really no need for him to be there. There's a race for the lead behind you. You're 3 to 4 laps down. You just need to stay out of that.
The top 2 fighting for the lead. Contact. We see Bell sliding through the grass. A lot of damage to the right front.
You see the tire smoke on the 98 as he drove away. I mean, I don't think the 98 could have gotten through there. Like the 0 came up so high, he was even impeding the progress of the 98.
If the 20 is not there, the 98 wrecks by himself.
Right.
So I will tell you one thing. This has opened the door, guys. Don't forget that one car, Michael Annett. He had a set of tires left sitting in the pits, and now with the 20 car having trouble, that's one less car he's got to have to go through. Is the 98 going to have to pit? Cole Custer up to second. Michael Annett with a set of tires, man. He's got a shot. Put tires on, drive up through the field.
Steve, the back panel came off of the 98 there. Is that a mandatory part that he has to have on the car?
We're going to have to see how NASCAR reports it, but in my opinion, that tail is required because without the tail, it is a major aero advantage. Marty.
And Richard Boswell just got that clarification from NASCAR. They are going to have to pit to put that rear bumper cover on the 98. There you see the replacement that will go on the car. Chase Briscoe's going to come down pit road this time. Chase said on the radio, what was he doing, where was he going, and what was he thinking? And then Richard Boswell had a profanity-laced tirade about the 20 car. Remember, they got into each other at the Roval a couple of weeks ago. They were not very happy that time. They're not very happy right now either. And these two very close friends, but contact late in back-to-back or, recent races here for the 98 and the 20, Kelly.
Even though pit road is closed, Christopher Bell has brought his damaged race car down here. You can see the team continues to work on that right front fender. They had to cut part of it away. They're trying to reshape it there with some bare bond. They put some fresher right side tires on. They were out of sticker tires, so those are scuffed tires. But now they've sent them back out. We'll see how this plays out for the 20 team.
Yeah, so unfortunately for the one of Annett, pit road is still closed. These laps are going to be killing him using those brand new tires he's going to come get. He needs this thing to get restarted as quick as possible. The report on the 98, so Rick, you asked about the tail, and we heard the tail is required. So really quickly, the rule is you cannot add new components such as fenders, hoods, noses. The exception, though, is components in which NASCAR requires your car to have. So this tailpiece is a required piece, therefore the 98 will allow or be allowed to put a new tail on. The caveat, though, is you can't add any sort of brackets. There has to be enough quarter panel to attach it. It looks to me like there's enough quarter panel for sure on the right, maybe even on the left. We'll have to see when they try to attach it to the car. But like I said, this is here for a reason. I know you guys are going to find this crazy, but crew chiefs didn't quite secure them as well as they're supposed to in the past, because when they came off, the car would have way more downforce. Between friends, there might be a race 15 years ago at Charlotte.
I remember.
Where a 24 car spun through the grass and the tail got knocked off. And
I never played cards with the crew chief.
Man, it was fast once that happened.
This right here that you see, the zero of Garrett Smithley being hooked up, it's taken them a while to get this car hooked up. That's been the delay. They're just now dragging him back.
Yeah, so trying to get him behind the wall. He was actually going through turn one. It looks like they're going to take him another direction. Now they're bringing him back. As the work continues again for Bell.
Now it looks like pit road's open. Mike Lynette can come get them fresh, cold, brand new sticker tires. The 98's going to have to pit. We're going to see where the one will line up after the pit stop. But we talked about it a caution ago, the gamble. We wanted to see more teams gamble. Not many did. I think it's going to pay off for the one of Annette.
Dave.
So Michael brings the one car down, very happy that fresh Goodyear tires are waiting for him unused, except for maybe rolling them around the garage area. So he'll put 4 on. The car was also a little bit free, and so they'll use a chassis adjustment to make that car very drivable for the driver of the one, Marty.
The 98 team kind of further diagnosing what happened on the track and saying, hey, we probably should have seen the 0 car a little bit better than we did, but the 20 also saw that developing and had no interest in lifting. He probably could have helped everybody out in that situation. That is their perspective. You can see that rear piece going on right now, also fixing right or left front damage on the 98 car, who was just laps away from maybe winning here at Kansas, Rick.
So the race for the lead between the 98 and the 20 gets to this point, both with damage to their race cars. It is going to be a 10-lap shootout here at Kansas to find out, will someone lock themselves into the championship for? Let's listen into the 00 radio.
We're going to win this thing, so it's not going to matter what happens.
So it's already decided Cole Custer's going to win.
Well, unfortunately for Mike Shipley, there are other cars in the race inside front row. The 2 of Tyler Reddick, the 19 of Brandon Jones, and the 9 on the second row have had up and down days. Haley and Allgaier in the third row, and Mike Lynette outside row 4, brand new tires. Can he use the tires? Can he get to the outside and use those new tires? Junior, he should be thinking 3 or 4 cars in the first set of corners to have a chance at this thing.
I agree. His crew chief has put him in an excellent position. That's what he's going to need to get himself through this round to have a chance at getting into Homestead. is one of the 4.
And he's had good speed all day, right? He's run top 6, top 7, so he's got a car that's good enough to make this happen.
Custer, Reddick, green flag back in the air.
The outside lane gets a little bit of momentum.
More contact as they dive into one. 3 wide for third. Allgaier all the way up the racetrack. Cole Custer has the lead. Reddick slides up. They maybe make a little contact in the wall.
Oh, look at the 1 car. All that stuff you'd like to see parted for him in the middle.
Custer was all the way up against the wall. Now he's dropping back. 3 wide for second. Here comes Justin Haley in the 11.
Oh, if that 1 car could clear, he's got to find a way to get through here.
He's just going to drive in the deepest and hope the tires are going to work. He's got to clear these 2 cars stuck in the middle.
Slides up the track. Reddick is going to come out in second.
Oh, that's just going to bottle that 1 car up. All of that, he's going to have to clear the 2 car right here.
Tear it up.
Caution's come out. Another restart.
That couldn't have gone better for the 1 car. There were moments that we needed him to pass guys, but now he'll get another shot at a restart. 2 rows closer to the front.
Look at the damage to Joey Gase's 35. That right side torn up.
Brandon Jones, late guys. Brandon Jones. He is leading this race.
What a restart, beating and banging up front here. 4 wide is going to be tight.
Yeah, you see that Gregson was way up the racetrack. But driving away was the 19 of Brandon Jones. Look at Gregson.
Oh, look at that. Right rear tires just blown up just too many times, making contact with the wall.
Brandon Jones, career best finish, second. Happened at Talladega a year ago.
All right, so you mentioned that the 19 got the lead. Well, let's look at it. He's inside the second row, which has really been a bad place to be for all of these restarts. The outside really seems to roll. But as we go down in here, look at what the 19 is able to pull off. He just rolls the bottom of the racetrack as the 2 slides up. That gets some air to the nose of that 19. That's impressive. That is an impressive set of corners.
And see the 9 of Gregson came out of there in second, feeling good, but right there, way loose. Have to wonder his tire was cut when he entered the corner. How about this day for Brandon Jones? He's worked so hard trying to get that first win. The team at Joe Gibbs Racing has stuck with him, worked with him. Now he's sitting here with just a few laps left with an opportunity to win that first race. Not in the playoffs. Unfortunately, he got in a wreck not of his own doing last week on the first lap at Dover.
Well, we've seen a lot of contact today, and I think that has been maybe one of the more surprising things on a 1.5 mile racetrack where you're seeing speeds over 188 miles an hour, and guys fighting for positions are running into each other. And we just saw it again right there for the lead.
And so much contact with the wall. We've seen it's an advantage to run right up against the wall. There's speed there. And so when you're running an inch away from the wall and you make a mistake, boom, there you do. You have contact, and then we see a tire cut. And it's just the aggressiveness level has been so high today. We've talked about it when we came on air. There's so much on the line. You want to win a championship in the worst way, and we're seeing those drivers just give 100%.
So Brandon Jones is up front. If Brandon Jones wins this race, he doesn't make it into the championship 4 because he's not a part of the round of 8. So he doesn't have an opportunity to get into that championship hunt. But he does mess some things up here if Brandon Jones goes up and wins this race.
Well, in some ways he messes it up, in other ways he helps it. Those big 3, they're fine with him winning the race, right? It doesn't hurt them. They'd rather him win than another guy that's not one of those big 3. So, it really depends on where you are in points, whether it's good for him or not if he wins this race as far as what you're concerned about it. But he doesn't care. Like, he cares about him. He's never won an Xfinity race. This would be a huge day for Brandon Jones and his family.
All right, let's bring in Junior and Steve. Guys, we've seen some amazing racing already, and a lot of aggressive racing on the racetrack.
Well, it's been aggressive, and it starts on these starts, right? On these restarts. Can you fire out of the zone? And then how much momentum can you carry through 1 and 2? We've seen the top work. We've seen the bottom work. Chase Briscoe is all the way back up inside the top 6. I'm not sure who has the best chance at the moment.
Yeah, I think you got to give a tip of the cap to Travis Mack for putting Michael Annett in a position to succeed. You know, Michael just hasn't had the speed over the last several months to be able to put himself into this playoff picture. But here he is today, starting third right now on this restart with better tires than anybody. This is his moment. I mean, this is where Michael Annett needs to step up. This race is not over for any of these guys up front. Could be anybody's in that top 6.
And he needs to start like it is his season. He needs to drive off in there and see how much the 2 is willing to defend, right? He needs to try to take the spot.
Brandon Jones, Tyler Reddick. 1 and 2. Reddick looks like he'll restart on the inside. Let's listen to his radio.
Sorry, guys. Just get loose, you lift, you get past. You don't, direct somebody. Gotta do what's best for us. You're fine, man. You didn't do nothing wrong in my eyes.
Do what's best for us. That is what every driver is thinking of right now.
A lot of these restarts have to do with what kind of push you get from behind. The 7 is behind Brandon Jones and the 1 is behind the 2. See who
5
gets
laps to go. Great restart for Brandon Jones. Down to the apron, fighting for position. Reddick staying right on the white line. Here comes Allgaier in the 7. He comes up to 7 or 2nd.
Brandon Jones did everything he needed to do. Got the lead, was very disciplined running the bottom of the racetrack.
Annett staying right on the bottom of the racetrack. Briscoe up high against the wall. Reddick running back there in the 5th position.
What an amazing comeback for Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, I don't think he thinks this race is over. He's going to have a big run to the outside of Allgaier. I think he's going to have the 2nd position here. His car looks really good on the top. 4 laps to go. I think that's enough time to go get the 19.
And behind this, Jeremy Clemens in that 51 car, running in 6th. Really good day for him. Can Chase Briscoe run down Brandon Jones?
He's got 2nd. Here comes Reddick as well. Does he have enough time? The gap between 1st and 2nd, 4/10 of a second.
Chase Briscoe very loose off turn 4. Brandon Jones clearly wants to run the bottom of the racetrack, was faster than Briscoe that time.
3 laps to go. Brandon Jones trying to run away with this race. Shock everyone, get his first win at Kansas.
Briscoe's got the momentum on that high side. A couple more corners, he could be there. As long as Reddick doesn't hound him too badly here, Reddick's going to get on that door. If he side drafts him at all, that's going to help your leader, Brandon Jones. Great run down the front straight for the 98 car.
That time, a great lap for Briscoe. Brandon Jones still up front, 2 laps to go.
See Briscoe's car's dancing around. See how loose it is right there? Just not enough grip that he's going to need to run down Brandon Jones. This is what Brandon Jones wants to see, side-by-side action behind him.
Here comes Reddick now. He's going to give it a shot. He moves up to 2nd. Up to the wall he goes. Brandon Jones staying down close to that white line as he exits now turn 4. Coming up on 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank.
I'm not sure this one's over yet. That 2 car gained on the leader with a pass. Can he put it together in just 1 lap?
He's going to have to do it in less than a mile and a half.
He's going to have a huge run down this back straightaway on this 19 car.
Oh, this finish is going to be great, Rick. Where are they going to go in 3 and 4?
How tight will it be? Brandon Jones trying to get his first win ever in the Xfinity Series. Reddick up high. He's going to have momentum as he comes out of 4. Does he have enough time? Reddick tags the wall. It's going to be Brandon Jones winning in Kansas.
Awesome job today, buddy. Awesome job. Great job today to pit the picture. All right, thank you, guys.
The 22-year-old shocks the Big 3 and the Xfinity Series, getting his first win.
It's exciting to see a young driver get his first win. Brandon Jones is just a solid day all day long. Kept himself in position. Then on that last restart, next to last restart, just used a ton of discipline, got a good launch, ran the bottom. The other guys couldn't run the bottom, took the lead, and then did everything right from then on. Good job for Brandon.
What a run. Joe Gibbs Racing driver. It was back in Dover when he actually got involved in an accident and knocked out of the playoff contention. And now he has come back and grabbed his first win in the Xfinity Series. and sure knows how to celebrate. Good news for the big three. The points don't change for them, but huge news for Brandon Jones. The Atlanta, Georgia native, able to capture this, his first win in his 134th start. And the crowd's going to let him know. Marty, if you can chase after him, I think he's going to grab the checkered flag.
He's going to soak this in is what he's going to do, Rick, grabbing the checkered flag for the first time in the Xfinity Series. How about that, Kansas Speedway fans? Brandon Jones, 22 years old, from Atlanta, Georgia, comes through with a win. He told me the worst part about being knocked out of the playoffs at Dover, he didn't get a shot to fight for the right to advance. But how about that win, Brandon?
I knew this was going to happen. I knew we were going to get to this racetrack, get knocked out of the playoffs, and then have a shot to go to the final round. But I'm super excited, man. This team has been through hell and back with me for a couple of years now, and I cannot believe we just pulled this off today, and it's all because of those guys down there. So thank you to everybody. Flo just came on board, new sponsor with us. I'm sure they're going to enjoy this one today.
All right, all the work that goes into it. A young man getting his first career win, Kansas Speedway race fans.
And while the celebration is going on, guys to the ground. That's Cole Custer getting back up now. But a fight going on down there, Dave.
And they're still at it down here. Custer's been pulled out of this mess here. Custer and Reddick walked towards each other, and then the confrontation started. Little name calling, a lot of shoving, but neither the driver of the 2 or the 00 happy with each other.
It's Tyler Reddick being held back, but you can see the emotion there. Custer stoic.
Hey, right here.
So here's Reddick and Custer coming together, and then the hands go on each other, and it escalated from that point. Big frustrations, emotions running very high.
You see these drivers, these races mean so much to them.
Yeah, apologize for the vocabulary there. Marty.
Let's grab Cole Custer. I know you were not happy with the way Tyler Reddick raced you on the restart. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I was just frustrated that, he can't keep his car on the bottom and then runs up us into the wall. So whenever, if he wants to wreck cars and put them in the wall from time to time, that's fine. But when it affects me, I'm not going to be very happy with it. And I don't know, I just went over to talk to him and say that. I put my hand on him and then he just went berserk. But, I thought we had a good car. I thought we had a shot to win. Just a lot of things went wrong.
Did you go up to him to have a rational conversation in your mind, Cole?
Yeah, I went up to just yell at him. But I put my arm on his shoulder. Then he went berserk. So I guess don't want to do that to Tyler.
You went to seek him out under caution. You were going to go hit him on the racetrack. Is that correct?
No, I wasn't going to hit him. I was just going to show that I wasn't happy with him. But, yeah, I wasn't going to hit him on the racetrack.
Obviously, a lot of frustrations. This is what the NASCAR playoffs do, Dave, the round of 8.
They really do, even when you're among the big 3 there. Tyler, what was that all about?
I understand Cole's frustration 100%. We're trying to lock ourselves into Homestead, and he came up to talk after the race, and as soon as he put a hand on me, I put a hand on him back. That's just how it's going to be if we're going to have a conversation that way. So, out of breath, but had a little fight there with some people. It was a little bit of fun, but frankly, out of breath. So, not the end of the race workout-wise I was looking for, but I think a lot of Cole and his driving ability, a lot of that team. So, just heat of the moment, we're pissed off. I'm sure we'll talk about it here soon, maybe today, tomorrow. Who knows, maybe have a beer over it. So let's just, we'll talk about it then. Obviously didn't want to get in his quarter panel, but if I lift, I get past. So I hate that it happened to him, but we'll try and move forward. Obviously, both of us have a lot left to lose in this deal, and if we take each other out, either one of us get to Homestead, and I feel like we both deserve to be there.
All right, Tyler, thanks. Let's see, guys, if this rolls over to Texas in a couple of weeks, or if they can clearly get it behind them.
200 laps of racing, and then this is why the frustration was there.